Welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Friends and family, brothers and sisters, welcome to the Late Night with Chalky podcast.
Our guest this week, another incredible, talented, and stylish surfer. He has a signature board, maybe two, called Uncle Buck. Dang. With the Iconic Hobie Surfboards, which you also work at, Dana Point location. He has been helping out with Surfers Healing for 20 plus years, right?
Yeah.
Dang, that's freaking epic. And we're stoked that you're helping out people with autism. And we're going to be looking forward to hearing more about that and surfing. And we welcome you to the show, George, Bucky, Zaster, right?
Very. At the end of all of that.
But Zaster.
Yeah.
Bucky, what's up?
Not much, just...
So you came up just to, talk about how I got here.
So we've been talking with Bucky for a while about getting him on the show.
Yeah.
We actually had a quick cameo when we had
The Hobie.
70th anniversary interview.
The Dick Metz episode.
Pretty much.
AKA the Dick Metz
As it
episode.
became.
As we were hoping.
Yeah,
Right?
I wasn't bothered by it. I
Dude,
enjoyed the
so
show.
sick. But yeah, it was a long time in the making, and what was really cool and what kind of brought us together today is you hit me up about getting some gear for review projects, and I'm like, fuck yeah, and now we're making it happen. You're our first pro longboarder on the West Coast for review projects.
Yeah, I mean, Julian rips and grew up surfing against Bart and Seb when we were younger as well, seeing them in Australia and other spots around the world. So
Yeah.
it was just kind of cool to see somebody like my same age group doing something they're passionate about and into. And working at Hobie, we sold it, I believe, since you guys started.
Yeah.
I want to say we had the very first season in there, and it was always really cool stuff. And especially this one, like when you pull this out of the box, I was like, as soon as we got in the shop, I was like, damn, that thing's cool as shit. Like, I gotta get some of that one. I love the like long sleeve polo. I'm a 90s kid. I never got out of the 90s gear.
Yeah. Well, it's
now
back.
people think it's
on
cool.
trend.
Yeah.
It is.
90s is on trend.
I went through it and I don't want to go back.
Yeah, well, no, it's funny. I just never changed. I still had stuff
Yeah.
from when I was like 16, 15,
That's what we've been
20
hearing.
years old, and like everybody made fun of me 2 years ago. Like, you look like a homeless person, and now like
Dude, where'd you get that? That's so sick.
You're eating what? Like, what is this getup? It's like same shit I had in 1999.
Yeah. It's crazy how like marketplace and whether all the platforms that like go find like cool stuff. It used to be you have to go to the thrift shops, and now you can just like plug in, and everybody like yourself kept a lot of that stuff from a long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more accessible and a lot more product.
Oh,
out
well,
there.
the 90s was like, I feel like kind of the first time where they were really mass producing like surf trunks and product where like there was a lot left over probably.
Yeah.
And so like it's still around because there's also when they were first were, making ads and things like that about like the high quality, how long it's going to last. And it turns out, like, especially when you put it away for 20 plus years, it lasts.
It's still intact.
It's still intact.
It's funny. I have gone to, there's different 80s parties or whatever, right? And I'll go to like Savers or Salvation Army or thrift store, and I'll see like our brands in there.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just like, this is weird to see Billabong in there or Volcom in there, and you're just like, wow, like these are vintage now.
We do a lot of 80s parties, so that's kind of our era, but there's going to be like 90s parties.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm going to host like a 90s party.
Yeah.
You're going to come like
Baggy pants.
gangster or grunge.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Or boy band.
Yeah, I was born in 87, so I was like 3 to 13, I guess, through it. So I was like, as I was saying, I was very impressionable through the 90s when it wasn't what it is today, where they were trying to make it really safe for the impressionable children.
Yeah.
So you grew up fast then too.
Yeah.
It was very different how fast you grew up then. So I feel like I'm still been a kid for a very long time, but also been an adult for a very long time compared to like the kids you see today, like kind of how protected they are and things like that.
Yeah.
Compared to back then. So it's cool to see a lot of the same like vibe coming back with it too. Like you're kind of seeing when kids are making surf flicks, like thing that kind of went away for a while. I think the surf flip
Yeah.
deal was making surf movies that make you want to go surfing
Yeah.
type of deal. And you're starting to see that again with kids, like especially like the 2% squad and stuff below him. Then
So
like
cool.
Yeah.
they're making stuff where you're like, oh, okay, like I can throw that on YouTube, watch for 10 minutes, and like get pumped to go surf Mason Hill, and then like it's not all scenery and slow motion music and one wave in slow motion over the course of 8 minutes.
And it
So-
gives you like your own identity. It gives you a way to like express yourself, not just in the water, but the music you like, the way you dress, like having fun, like behind the scenes, which is like, you know, the kids partying and road trips and whatever. It's like, that's how it should be. That's what the best years
It's the
were.
real shit.
Yeah, I feel like when we were younger, we would leave the house in the morning and you would have to come home when the lights came on.
Yeah.
When the street lights came on. Which for a while there was like helicopter parents, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
And kids kind of were stuck playing video games, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like your kids' generation, JJ and like Eve and Emmy, my daughters, they're out and about now.
Yeah.
Like, more often. I don't know, am I wrong or
No, I think it's a combo. I think,
like e-bikes have helped kids.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think e-bikes for
Whether you
better
like
or for worse,
that and the
kept
phone.
them out and
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
The e-bikes and the phones, better or worse,
Yeah.
have exposed them and opened up their like network
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah.
more. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm just hanging with the kids on the street or kids from my school. It's like kids from that, like, you know, all over.
Especially within surfing, like you go to a contest up in Santa Cruz and like 10 friends up there, like when I was a kid, it was like you couldn't talk to them until the next time there was a contest you came together. Nowadays, it's like every day they post a picture, you can be like, bro, that's sick. Is that what it looked like today?
Yeah.
And create a whole conversation, like
Yeah.
so it's kind of shrinks and expands the world at the same time. Where somebody far away can see right next to you, but at the same time, it's expanded in a way of you can see what's happening across the world from instantly.
Everything's instantaneous.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty wild.
So let's go back in time and tell us where George Bucky Barry found surfing.
I actually, it's kind of a weird one. I just, you know, about 10 years old, I started going to the beach after growing up playing all the other sports. And actually, my neighbor from Minnesota, Jake, would come out every summer, lived a couple houses away from me. Pretty much taught me how to surf.
A dude from Minnesota?
Yeah, my buddy Jake from Minnesota taught me how to surf.
Minnesota, eh?
Yeah.
So wait,
got
where did you grow up?
Dana Point.
Okay.
I've never not lived in Dana Point.
And this
37 years
guy
now.
came every summer?
Every summer, his grandparents lived like 3 houses away from me. And so when I moved there around 10, and I started going to the beach, and I could go with him because it was 3 houses away. I got a surfboard from my buddy Tommy Loy, who was my basketball coach all growing up, his dad. And they had a board in the garage they just gave to me.
You know, cutting board?
It was a Surfside Sports.
Wow.
No way.
Surfside Sports, like from probably like 85, full thick rails to
Chunky.
here, all the way down, blaster and thruster, like foam center fins where like the foam bit, you know,
Yeah.
was like
Yeah, little honeycomb.
real little, well, not even honeycomb,
Yeah,
just
okay,
like
it's just
straight,
foam.
like some dude shaped it, and
Yeah.
then I was like, and then I'm gonna put it on the board, like full, probably early 80s, you know, with how thick it was and big squash tail.
I remember they started adding foam to the fins, like,
Yeah,
make it lighter.
like you guys will probably know because you're from up here older than I am. It had the Surfside Sports was like in a bright green, like kind of badass looking, riding one on one rail, one on the other rail.
Yep.
It was pretty
All
sick.
written out in font, like,
Oh yeah,
script.
like a kind of cool script, kind of looked like
I remember this
super
one that they
80s,
used
90s
all the
vibe.
time. It was like a paint.
It might have been that was green with blue
Yeah.
shadow behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still in my parents' garage.
No
actually.
fucking way.
Yeah, I still have it in the garage.
What's the
And
size?
I'd say probably 6'2", 6'3".
So it's not, you know, it's not a drop, like a kid board. Like,
Oh yeah, it was like a grown-up shortboard, but when I was 10, it was like I could get pushed in a Doheny on it. And
Yeah,
stand.
Because we'll have to take a photo of that.
I'll send it to you guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Next time I come.
I'd like to frickin', you know, not give it to Duke and Joe at Surfside,
No.
but just show them. Like,
Oh, yeah,
you know
no.
what I mean? That would be, they'd be.
So Tommy Boy gave me that, and then that's what like.
Do you know who shaped that board? or-
I couldn't tell you. I'm sure the signature.
You could ask those
I haven't
guys
even
who
looked at it.
shaped
Probably
it.
like probably the last time I wrote it was when I was like 17 or 18. Like we got it out of the rafters.
Yeah.
So pretty long.
So where did you live before Dana Point?
I was always Dana Point. Just,
Oh, always Dana Point.
Yeah, never
Okay.
anywhere else. My dad came all the way from Massachusetts and just kind of, he was actually doing some stuff up and living in Hollywood, and then he got a job at Irvine Meadows, in like, I want to say like 81 or 82, and he was going to come be like, I believe the staging supervisor. And so he had to move from Hollywood down here, and he wanted to get a sailboat. And so he was like, all right, I want a place I can get to Irvine Meadows fast. It'd be killer if it had a harbor, so I could have a boat. So he like, looked on a map and was like, oh, I think I just described Dana Point. And so he moved there. And then he met my mom. She worked at the box office. And then so.
At Irvine Meadows.
At Irvine Meadows.
What a trip.
And so
was your dad in the record music industry?
No, he was a roadie. So
Okay.
he wasn't really in the record industry.
Because your sister was telling me a story about, I think it was your sister and your dad, like, he used to drive up to LA all the time.
Oh, he still does, yeah. Now he does, now he's in like TV, so he does the voice. And he's the staging supervisor for that and does all kinds
That's
of different
it.
stuff, yeah.
What?
But he,
what
when he grew up, he was like, I think his first road he did was Bootsy Collins, like way back in the day. And then he was a roadie with the Eagles for a while. Jimmy Buffett, Neil Young. He's in the Neil Young West Never Sleeps movie.
No way.
Like the concert movie. He's like, comes out first. He's like, he could be like the most interesting man in the world. If he
Fuck.
All the
Does he
stuff
surf?
that he's seen
all
and
the stuff
done.
he's seen. He got won a surfboard on the radio in Massachusetts when he was like 12, and so he like tried it a little bit. And then when we started surfing when I was like 10, he like, got a board so he could come surf with us, type of thing. And but like never got like fully into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he won a Duke like pop out, like I guess it would have been like 64 or 65.
It's pretty wild
off the radio in Massachusetts.
how many promotional like companies build boards for like promotes,
Oh, yeah.
you know? Like
You see him in all the supermarkets for the beer company.
Oh,
beer,
yeah.
like but just
yeah, it was guaranteed
randomly
on the
like
boat, something
non-surf
that.
companies
Yeah.
like having
But in like
surfboards.
1964, 65, so it was
Dude, that's
still like a
crazy.
legit probably tank, like
Yeah.
that 13-year-old could go catch a couple waves
Yeah.
on him. He was in New Bedford, Massachusetts, so like, go find the beach and get some whitewash and try it out, but it's freezing. And
Yeah.
he had a brother that he was like only like 15 or 16 months younger than him, so like pretty sure they were like double carry it to the beach, take turns
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that was like
Cheap
his end of surfing because he was in Massachusetts. But he always sailed. He sailed like single-handedly down the whole East Coast
No way.
at like a pretty young, like back then I guess they didn't do single-handed yet. But he had a boat and down the whole East Coast, up and down. And
Alright.
he actually, I don't know
He's a
exactly how
fucking
he was.
swashbuckler.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the single-handed transpac like 5-6 years, like just before COVID maybe. So he was like in his early 60s and did it solo and was like crushing it on pace to like make it faster than anybody's ever made it and then get no win.
From where to where?
From San Francisco to Honolulu.
Wow.
Yeah, like raced. I think there was 24 guys in it. He finished. He was the 5th boat in. I forget with the handicaps and what place he actually.
And this is
finished.
just right before COVID?
This was probably like 2019, 2018.
Damn.
Something like that. Maybe
Alright.
give or take a couple of years, but yeah.
And he did it solo?
Yeah, single-handed.
How
Yeah.
many days?
I think he did it in 14 there and 18 back.
I couldn't even imagine
He did it
like
back non
You
the race.
yourself? by
sleeping.
yourself?
Because
Oh,
you gotta
yeah.
sleep, but then like what if something goes off?
Oh, well, he was telling me one story where he said it was like 8 hours straight of going just like up a 30-foot seat, down the back of a 30-foot seat going.
Dude.
He's like, it was to the point where like I was freaking out, but the boat was making it. He's like, so I had to go below and hold on because like I was more likely to do something wrong than the boat do something wrong. Like
That's fucking
having it
scary.
in my hands
Yeah.
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah.
I was going to do a panic and screw up, so I had to
Like a-
bail and let go and hope it worked out. But like that kind of became the only option type of thing. Like
And he did that 6 years ago.
yeah,
5 or 6 years
Sorry,
ago.
5 or 6 years ago. Not like that's like me, not as like a young man. Like
Yeah.
as a person who should be retired,
Yeah.
like, but he still works every day. And
Dude,
still does
we always
those
talk
type of
about
things.
that
So I live up to that too.
Yeah, like, we always talk about the older generation that
Oh, he was
they
like,
just
"Man."
fucking did so much more shit.
Yeah, when he was 13, like during the Cold War, he went to Germany to learn German.
They didn't know
Oh,
German. Yeah.
Like, speak German.
He could talk.
I guess it would have been, yeah, like he was born in 52, I believe, so like 1963, 64, like went along to Germany to learn German.
For what purpose?
He's
Just because?
to add to the list of most interesting man in the world type things he's done.
Wow.
Like,
Well, we'll have to talk about your dad
Yeah.
more later. But so you were 10 years old when you first started surfing.
When I first started
Doheny,
Doheny
for sure. I mean, one of the
wherever
best.
everybody starts in South Orange County.
Well, I mean, one of the best beginner waves and just cruiser waves for along the coast. You know, we talk about like Seal Beach being warm water. It's kind of like a nice little circular Blackies.
Oh yeah, similar deal. Yeah, and down there, like Doheny, since it's a reef, it's really the same spot. And you go down to the second spot where it's just a straight wall, like you have 40 guys go straight.
And there
learning
are.
how to surf, and there are.
Yeah.
The mayhem is like, I always tell people, like, you really want to make sure you have a board that you can paddle fast enough to get out of whoever's coming at you's way.
For sure.
They're not going to be able to do anything about it.
No.
What's crazy though is I've only gone to Doheny once, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never really been there too much, but
It's too big.
one time. But isn't it cobblestones?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of gnarly for beginners.
Well, but it's so soft that like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like,
Because
even
I
if you're
was a
falling,
little
you're falling
baby and
at
I was
1
like,
mile an
this
hour.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a party to be walking around, but it also has channels around it, like where if you don't complete, like I mean, the other day I was there taking my nieces surfing, and I was paddling out watching somebody like walk straight in, like, but you have to walk 50 yards across rocks that are like shin deep and super awkward, or you can
Find that little gutter.
we just paddle next to the jetty and it's sand. You walk 4 feet, you start paddling, and it's waist deep, and you're cruising. Like,
Yeah. The sand moves around quite a bit.
everywhere you go, you find the right way, and you got it.
So that's where you cut your teeth in surfing.
Yeah.
On the Surfside Sports Board.
On the Surfside Sports Board, and then got a board. And then that first Christmas, I started in probably July or August. That first Christmas, because of surfing Doheny, even though I was on a shortboard, like all I wanted to do was nose ride. I thought it was the coolest thing, like seeing guys on the nose and the tail coming out the back, and you'd like miss a wave because you're on too little of a board, and then see a guy hanging 10 going by, or even just hanging 5, seeing the tail hanging out the back. I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So like that first Christmas, me and my sister both got like matching 8.0 Mark Ellis boards because he lived around the corner. So
Mark
my dad,
Ellis?
Mark Ellis, he did Ellis boards for a long time, shaped for Taylor Dana, and I think he still shapes quite a bit.
Nice.
Does some boards, and yeah, so we got those for our first Christmas. Once
You
we
just
started
got
surfing.
design and everything.
I was born. I just wanted it to look like an old board, so I airbrushed 3 stringers on it.
Did you
And my
really?
sister got like seaweed that looked like flames, kind of.
That's cool.
Instead of flames, it was seaweed like dripping
Yeah.
down. But like if you look quick, you just think it was green flames. But she thought it was cool to have like
Seaweed.
green seaweed going down. So those were like our first
you said
custom board.
2 years younger than you.
She's 2 years younger, but she was the
started at the same
classic.
time?
She was the classic younger sibling that what I did was like, oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that she didn't get her license at 14.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I got my license, it was her turn, like as well, type of thing. And just like what I did, she did as the
Yeah.
younger sibling. We're only 2 years apart, so it's
Close.
pretty easy to like just kind of follow along.
Yeah. Now
Oh, yeah, you
she,
hang out. You got some cute girlfriend, or, you know.
Yeah.
she started surfing when you started?
Yeah, she started pretty quick after me. Like maybe I would go with the neighbor to the beach, and she would maybe in the beginning like only go when we went as a family on the weekend, and then once she got older, like they felt more comfortable with her leaving with me to the beach. Or so just,
Yeah.
And then we were dropped off. Like we just got dropped off, us and 25 of our friends at the end of the jetty all summer, and there would be just 30 boards laid out, maybe 20
Yeah.
kids.
Those are the days, huh?
Full beach day, and like
As your tower
and
two down
Amanda, who shares the office with my sister, was pretty
Yeah.
much her parents were there with like the 30 kids that everybody else dropped off, type of thing. Because her mom, I think her dad just worked evenings, and her mom was like a stay-at-home mom. So she surfed, so she would kind of just be there all day, either in the water on the beach chair, reading, hanging out,
Yeah.
kind of watching the kids. But we always watched ourselves really fun.
Isn't it
Jumping off the
crazy
rocks,
how
surfing.
life was so simple back then, where you just
Days were forever.
Yeah. Oh, it felt like
summertime 3 months felt like half a year.
Oh yeah, it felt like it felt like I was tripping the other day. Like somebody I know was turning 30, and I was like, damn, that feels like 5 minutes ago, and it's not 5
Yeah.
minutes ago, like type of thing. And just little things like that. We're like, whoa, like how fast years go by.
Yeah.
And I'm such a dweeb. I looked up the science of it, and it's because it's less percentage of your life, so it seems less significant as it would. But like, it's a pretty interesting thing how as you get older, time does fly.
Yeah. It's funny, I was just talking to somebody, a grandma or something like that. I can't remember who, an older person, and they go, yeah, you know, it's really true when they say the days feel long but the years are short.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and you're like, you think about that and like, fuck, that's so true, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, old people get up at like 4 in the morning, you know, and they like barely sleep, you know, they're just like up all day.
Well, and then you get stuck in like your daily routine. That day is like you're
The
so
monotony
overly
of-
focused on that day,
Yeah.
and you do it over and over again. All of a sudden, you're like, oh,
Yeah, when
10
you're-
more years has gone by of me being stuck in those monotonous days.
Yeah, like if you ask me, like, when did you last drive to an account? I'm like, I don't know. They're all every day's the same. Monotonous,
exactly.
You know? But when you're a kid, it's like
a new adventure.
everything's getting like burned
Yeah.
in your brain as far
Dude,
as like
I'm not going to
memories.
be 18 for 7 more years. That's going to be
The
forever.
countdown every day.
Everything is a countdown.
to
I was in
16,
such a hurry.
18 to 21, everything's a countdown. And after that, you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Hey, 25, you can rent a car. That's like kind of the last fun one. And
So-
then the discount, and you don't want to get there. You didn't know where to get to the discount.
Yeah.
So
there are-
Doheny was the spot that you always surfed.
Yeah, so just Doheny like pretty much got us started, and then as you progress and like you know if your parents are willing to do the drive more, you go to Sano. It's a little farther for us in Dana Point, and then as you decide you want to ride a shortboard and stuff, you surf Salt Creek, or you get to high school and surf team starts, and so you surf Salt Creek
Yeah.
on your longboard because you have to, whether you want to or not, type of thing.
So what was I was gonna ask that, like shortboarding versus longboarding. Like how, where or how or who kind of influenced you to go to
Well, I think like I said, starting at Doheny, being on a little board, the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
When you're at Doheny, you can't do a whole lot on a little board, but you see everybody out there walking around, mountain riding, doing the same turns you're capable of doing on a shortboard at that age. Like, I could do that turn on that, but also be doing all that walking around and stuff.
Yeah.
At the weight you're at, that's what you can do. And plus just where we live overall, whether it's Doheny, Sano, or even Salt Creek at points and things like that, like probably 85% of the days if you just go to the beach with a longboard, you're gonna have a blast. Whereas if on 85% of those same days you show up on a shortboard, you're probably gonna leave the beach kind of eggy and like
Yeah.
the day didn't start as good as you hope, like going to the beach to go surfing.
Yeah.
It's just what we have around us, and so I probably gravitated more that way. But when the waves are good, like when the waves are perfect, you want to ride shortboard. And so everybody's like, "Oh, it's shortboarding's way more fun." You're like, well, yeah, because when you're doing it, the waves are way better.
Yeah.
Like to me, if it's to the point where I'm gonna be riding a shortboard, like it's perfect, it's pumping, it's as good as it can be. And so of course that's the day you're gonna have the most fun.
It's a good way to put it. I mean, yeah, you want to have the most fun. And
Yeah.
if
If it's chest high and under, you're gonna have a lot of fun on a board that's 6'1" by 18 and a half by 2 1/4. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna watch everybody else have a blast on their bigger boards.
Yeah.
And I don't
As
like
they're
watching.
gliding on the outside, just gliding in.
For sure.
And
And
you're
it's just like it's supposed to be fun. Like
Yeah.
if you're not having fun, what's the point? Like
Yeah.
nobody even you talk to the top NBA guys, like they retire once they stop having fun.
Yeah.
When you got to high school and you have surf class, I mean, you got to have a couple longboarders to compete in that
Oh
division.
yeah. Well, we had a lot. Like it was tough to like longboarding. There was 3 guys per team. And that was it. Like,
Yeah.
Shortboarding, there was 12 per team.
12.
So we had the format of like 8 morning heats before you went to squad. You
Yeah.
guys did that.
Same.
So we did the 8 format heats. 4 shortboard heats, a longboard heat, a boogie heat, and then I think when I started it was women's longboard, women's shortboard.
Yeah.
So there's like your 8 heats and there's 1 longboard heat. So 3 guys per team was it. And we had 10, 12 guys that wanted to make our Dana Hills
So
team.
there's stiff competition.
It was like tough competition, like
Which
and
is
then-
rare because I help out the Huntington team and we got 3 really good longboarders, but like that's it. If one of those guys can't make it, and 2 of them are like baseball players,
Like
it's like Tommy August and this other guy Tyler, they're freaking good. Like they're
Yeah.
like really good. But if their schedules conflict, and they can't make it to our comps, we only have 1, and then they're scrambling for others to fill a
oh
spot.
yeah, I mean, grabbing some guys longboarded twice. So.
Yeah.
Which I mean, a lot of those guys can't do it. But I grew up like we were going against San Clemente, and San Clemente was like the ultimate. Like they had the Godowskis brothers, all of that whole squad was going on. So like it was like on the shortboard side. I usually did both, and
Yeah.
I started playing heats against those guys. Where it's like, okay, so I guess the 3 of us on our team are in battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Like we got to do bragging rights amongst each other because, oh, there goes the tan and doing it in reverse.
Yeah.
Again, third time this heat.
Yeah. You're like, this is not
This isn't
fun.
gonna happen, but longboarding, it was like, we had a blast, like, because we all surfed stand together, so like when we were battling the same company, it was like me, Tommy Witt, Tommy Lloyd, Tyler Warren was on our team, so it was like a tough squad to break.
Yeah.
And they had Kevin Osborne in the same company, Troy Mothershead, so it was like, both schools, it was like, every heat, it was like, guys that, you know, I already had my Hobie model when I was 17, still in high school.
Wow.
Tommy Witt, I think at the same time, had a model with Herbie Fletcher. Tyler had his model or two with Hobie. Like, those are like high school morning heats. Like,
Yeah.
we're legit longboard like guys going, and then like you had the Godowskis brothers and stuff, like on covers of magazines, and like you got to go surf against them before you go to speech class.
Yeah.
Like,
It's crazy
it was
how
a pretty wild
much-
time then.
how deep and how deep the talent pool in San Clemente is.
I mean, you have lowers, you have San Onofre,
Yeah.
you have uppers, you have like
Yeah.
all those spots that same thing you get dropped off as a kid and go and surf your brains out.
Yeah.
And it has that almost Florida vibe where it's not like Hawaii where you're scoring in perfect waves. Like if you're surfing every day, you're groveling, you're having
Yeah.
to paddle harder for every wave. You're also at lowers, like when you're a kid, you're battling
God,
the
you're
Wardos, the Cordells, all those guys out there. Like, so you gotta like step your game up. You gotta paddle harder. We just had that Griffin event. He was talking about how you just had to like kind of be a gnarlier kid, like paddling harder, surfing harder, like
That's cool.
putting more energy into it. And the other thing is when you're paddling back out and you see a kid your age or younger do something cooler, like even though you're not in heat, like the
You're always
competitive fire,
yeah.
you're like, "Fuck, I got to do that better now." Like,
Yeah.
all right, like
Yeah,
and
when
when there's 30 of them doing
Yeah.
it at the same time, that's 30
No
progressions
wonder,
higher,
no
you know?
wonder everyone's fucking ripping.
Whereas most places around the world, like as a young kid, you go surf with your dad and 3 other kids around you. Like,
Yeah.
especially with what we
You don't
got
get
with
that
the surf
fire.
teams and stuff.
Yeah, you
like,
don't get that like motivation.
yeah, you go down to T Street during the St. Louis searching, there's kids busting air reverses every direction all
Yeah.
around and like yelling at each other, goofing off the whole time. Like,
See that one?
yeah,
see, you got
exactly.
it.
Like, how are you
That
not,
was weak.
how are you not going to get better? You know what I mean?
I mean, we grew up and we would run heats like, hey, like we're scoring ourselves. You're trying to be honest and like watch. And like every free surf was pretty much we're running heats.
Yeah, exactly. You know what they always say, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room because that's how you get smarter. Like, if no matter how good you think you're surfing, you walk down the lowers and then
Yeah.
some guy like your same age is doing better than you, well, I guess
Yeah.
I gotta surf more. Like,
That and it's good to get outside of your local break and kind of
Yeah,
go see
exactly.
like, some of those premier spots that.
Yeah.
and you can go from Riviera to, that's not a premier spot or any of those like just beach breaks, and then go immediately step up to lowers like within a bike ride, and
Yeah.
see the top. You got be surfing with Kelly Slater, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Type of deal after surfing alone. You
For
got
sure, Taylor
Taylor
Knox.
for sure, Wardo, like I said, for sure,
Yeah.
For sure,
There's
plenty of those
there's a lot of guys that
Dude. Well,
don't live
so-
there that come and are regulars.
Oh, yeah.
Felipe live in San Clemente?
Yeah.
Yeah, same deal. You gotta see all those guys who, I mean, you have plenty of the whole surf industry. Everybody who
Yeah.
works up here in Irvine, they live in San Clemente. So
They're all taking lunch breaks or going before work or after work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's people always say, "Oh, I don't know, it's a hassle, it's crowded." I'm like, but one wave there is like 10 waves at your
Yeah.
local spot. Like, just grab a different mindset of not thinking you're.
You gotta have a
catching
mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's everything is mindset.
Yeah.
Lyndon's like, it's too crowded. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
I only mess with it when it's awful, and I'll go like when it's really bad, and you go longboard with 2 guys that are struggling, and there's
Yeah.
nobody else out there, and you're like, oh, the left is still like boneyard on steroids, and it's shoulder high on the sets, and I'm surfing alone. Like,
Yeah.
it's bad lowers, but
Were you
waves
com-
3 times as long as anything I'm gonna surf at Sandbar right now.
Were you competing in amateur contests as well as the high school? Did you? Were there,
Yeah, I did like the WSA and the NSSA and stuff. Pretty much to see friends and did the coalition contest.
Yeah.
The coalition ones were always the coolest ones because you saw everybody. It wasn't just kids your age. Like they have the age groups just like the board riders now, all the way up to the 70-year-old.
Who were able to do that?
There'd be Malibu, Steamer Lane, Cardiff.
I remember that name,
Like,
Coalition.
yeah, so they're still around. They still do them like now in the San Onofre Club. Like, and so they go compete, but it's like a gathering of like every age group, like I said. So like you go down and like I go to contests and my heat would be the heat after, Joel Tudor and Josh Baxter, that would be in the 20 to 29 division. The 15 to 19 division would be the next heat. And you're like watching like some of your favorite surfers like just ripping, and then like horn blows and it's your turn to go surf with all your friends that want to do what they just did, type of thing.
Epic beach day.
Epic beach day, and like when it's farther away, like as a club, we used to go to like the Santa Cruz event, and you rent one house for like 5-6 families in the same surf club, and you're waking up, one of the parents is cooking breakfast, and you're walking over the contest.
So it was almost like a board riders club.
Pretty much just like a different format. Like you guys do the relay and that type of deal, but whereas this is just you're in your age group, you go surf. Usually they don't have that much time, so usually there's like 3 first-round heats of 6 guys, and then it goes into first place goes to the final, and then a record charge. Because they have so many divisions, and they only do it in 2 days. But it's, when it's at Malibu, everybody's parked on the street camping. Usually it's either Thursday night to hang out on the beach all day Friday, because they drove all the way from Santa Cruz all the way to San Diego. And so the day before the event too is like you're hanging out with all your friends from up and down the whole coast.
Yeah.
And then you go surf Malibu with 5 of your friends out that are like your age that you go to school with, or like, there's 2 kids you go to school with, and then a kid from Santa Cruz, a kid from San Diego, a kid from Huntington, like all in the same.
Laura always talks about how MSSA's, you go to Santa Cruz, or go down to Oceanside and Torrey Pines, and
just
that's how you make friends.
Well, and surfing's such its own. That's why it's weird. Like, it obviously is a lifestyle and all that, and it is a sport, and the sporting aspect is usually what actually brings everybody from other places together. Like, it's pretty tough to like within your work schedule and all that. Like, oh, let me go see my one friend on like a trip. You go to see one of them, but a contest all of a sudden, like, you're seeing it. Like, I'm going to the Loggerhead on Wednesday. I'm going to see friends from New York all the way down to the bottom of Florida that are going to gather in Jacksonville to get together, hang out, have a good time, and somebody then gets to brag. They smoke them all. Like, that's a cool aspect of surfing that I think a lot of other sports don't get to have, because even like if you do play basketball and stuff growing up, like you go have your tournament dates, you sit like in an arena with your team,
it's a small world,
and then you leave and you go home. Like, whereas like surfing has the deal where every venue is a completely different place, completely different culture. Like, even this culture from San Clemente driving across that board with Dana Point is a whole nother culture. Huntington to Newport is a whole nother culture. Seal Beach to Long Beach, whole nother culture, each from themselves. And if you were to try to explain that to somebody, like, somebody from Nebraska is like, oh yeah, that's Southern California.
Yeah.
You're like, no, but like, I'm a Dana Point. Like, that guy's in San Clemente.
Yeah.
You're like, you're 4-minute driving to a different world.
Yeah.
It's like not. It is. Like type of thing. And
I mean, it's a big surf. Not just the geographic size of like the surfing and all that. Then you got your little niches and whatever. But everything isn't so big once you're in like that's in the mix. In the scene. Like your contest, you start. Everybody's gathered.
You're like in the water every day.
Yeah.
For the most part, until you go somewhere and then you see like you go with your buddy and then you're seeing all the guys he sees every day.
Yeah.
And you get introduced, and then like you find some stuff in common, and then it's like next time you're there, you like seek out that person. You're like, yo, what up? Like, let's go get some lunch after we shred this morning, like whatever.
Like, there's a lot of surfers, but like-minded, and you're in the same realm of like some in your own age group somewhere else. Like, you're gonna have that like connection.
It's cool.
Come stay at my house. Come stay at my house. When the waves good,
Well, and especially in the times now where like everybody's so divided and like everybody wants to like hate each other and like break these walls, put these walls between each other. It's like everybody just wakes up every day and has to get through that day. And when you get to like add surfing to it, it's like unreal to have that connection with people that might have a completely different outlook on life, but both of you paddle out and want to catch a wave and laugh. Like, and that's it. All that other crap goes out the window. And no matter where you are, you get plugged into their zone. You're still just with each other, like enjoying each other's company. Like, and surfing, I think, does that more than probably anything else that exists.
Yeah.
Well, you brought
there's nothing like surfing that puts you on the same. There's the barriers drop with
faster than anything else.
Yeah.
And like I love quoting Doc Kraskowitz because I got to spend a lot of time with him. And like he says, keep surfing and surfing will keep you. And that includes not just like your health staying healthy enough to keep surfing, because if you stop, it gets harder. But the community like keeps you as well. Like you see anytime somebody goes down, somebody gets, freaking injured at cloud break and needs help getting home, like we've seen recently and things like that, like the community rallies around them, people they never met, just because they do something like-minded and enjoy that, and they may be seeing what they.
Whether it's a GoFundMe for somebody going through a difficult time,
exactly,
or
whatever it is,
like
worldwide it comes together. I don't know if there's a different culturally significant, whether it's sport or anything, that brings people around the world together that well and
that's so
strong
true.
of a
I don't
bond.
really think about that.
There's so many times where on my feed and I'll see, people that are acquaintances or somebody that's in the industry, and I see their, life hit them, side one, just something, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta help this.
But then how many more guys are there where you're like, man, I haven't seen that guy in the water in years. Like, I wonder what he's up to, and nobody knows. Because they stopped surfing. Like,
for sure.
They also lost the community together as well. Things like that. Like,
you made a good point too. Like, you're gonna elevate your game when you're going to some of these spots because there's so much good surfing out there, but you're also elevating your game by not surfing the same break every day. Like each location has a different sandbar, breaks at different speeds, has either shallow or flat, or and there's all these different things, and you have to adjust to all those conditions.
And a different culture, a different group of guys in the water. Some places you go, different language, you got to deal with the barrier. Some places you go, what they consider polite is completely different than what the culture you grew up in is considered polite, as far as just water ethics go, let alone what you deal with like on land and things like that. But it's pretty quick, like you have a conversation and you've learned such a huge culture in one session with somebody from there. Whereas if you went to a country for a month and just cruised, like you probably take that whole month to really understand the culture. You have one surf session with some locals in that area and kind of get it. And I don't know, like I said, there's
you're eating at the best local restaurant around the corner. They're showing you all the ins and outs. You're not just the sore thumb tourist looking food. You're like, hey, like, come here, and like, they're gonna go eat over there. No. We're gonna go over here. Don't worry.
Well, it's like I always tell people, like when you go to Mexico, like don't go stay at the resorts because all you're gonna see is people that were on the plane with you. You don't want to see the people that were on the plane with you. You want to see the people down there and like be a part of the community, see what like they do in that part of the world compared to what you do in this part of the world.
That's a real life experience.
Exactly, that's a real life experience. It's like, yes, go lay on the beach, hang out there, but like you can also like go do that with the locals in the community who are going to show you a new way of life that maybe you take home and put towards your life and be like, it's a little better. Like, whoa!
They're so simple.
Just because you want to go on a swim trip.
So going back, you rode the Surfside Sports, then you got your first custom to Mark Ellis.
Yeah, Mark Ellis longboard.
And then, like, did you start surfing contests?
So yeah, we were getting. That's kind of the age we started really getting involved with the coalition stuff, and then went to go do the Hobie Sano Classic, and a couple of my friends already surfed the Hobie, and then started riding for them. I think in 2000, like at that event, basically. Right
you got sponsored by Hobie?
Yeah, like right before I turned 13, and then so started riding those boards, and obviously got more involved competing and things like that. Because then back then, like Hobie, we had a team of like me, Tyler, Tommy Lloyd, trying to go, Tony Booth, like Eric Booth, like just a huge team of like kids our same age that when we would go to the contest, like could take over and get first, second, third, fourth, fifth in our divisions and things like that. And it was just a really, like I said, like cool community to become a part of. And that kind of took off leading to working there and all of that as well.
Yeah. So that Hobie Sano Classic.
Yeah.
Did they?
It ended. Alan Seymour used to put it on. He also used to do the Rossi Wahine Classics. And
wasn't he WASP Alan Seymour?
No, he.
Oh, that was Al Hunt.
Al Hunt, yeah. So he. No, so Alan Seymour, he kind of just did that. He ran like a lot of those auctions back in the day. He used to for the old boards and things. I forgot what they were called, but California Classic Auction, whatever. They were selling old Duke boards for thousands of dollars and things like that. And so you would do the Hobie Sano Classic where you had to ride boards pre-1970, and they had like a Concourse de Elegance where they have the boards like underneath the palapa there, old man's, and you'd have like the nicest looking boards from pre-1970, and that would get loaded on. And then you have a few divisions that over the course of the weekend would go surf on old boards, and like Joel Tudor and Josh Baxter and all those like top guys that would be like, they would be on, at the time the World Tour was a real thing for longboarding, and they would be surfing our local break, Sano on old boards, like ripping. So it was like kind of the coolest thing to go watch. And so I went to do that, watched all those guys rip and did that contest. And
It's kind of
got to become really a part of the company. And
Did Hobie used to throw contests?
it was a like annual event, like beginning of May every year.
They gotta bring that back.
I've been trying to find a way. It's a tricky thing with permits nowadays, and with Sano falling into the water. It's a tricky deal. They do a few Sano Free Surf Club contests, but maybe hopefully in the future we can make some. We're getting a really good relationship with the club. We're trying to find a way to do some more cool stuff down there. So
Make it.
it's not. I wouldn't write it off. I've been in
Or
everybody's ear who needs it in their ear.
Or change the venue and make it Hobie Doheny.
Well, no, it's got to be the same. Because a part of it is once you get down there, like you're down there.
Yeah.
Like for the day, like it's about having that day where your car is backed up. Everybody can go make their own burgers and make their own scene to
That's true.
go back to him. Like that's a part of it. Like, it's not just about like parking your car up at the lot, bringing your board down. Like you want to walk the beach all the way back to your car and pass 50 of your friends sitting on the back of their car with their cool old boards and new boards.
Those are
food they're making.
Those are good descriptions of that day.
Yeah, that's what you remember.
Remember, imagine like that experience.
Yeah, I remember walking down the beach and all of a sudden like, there's Joel. Like, he's getting ready for his heat. So like, let's go like, wrap out while he waxes his board. There's Josh. Like your favorite guys are just getting ready for their heats, like waxing their boards, like down the beach cruising. That's the other thing you get with surfing is you get to surf with your heroes. Like you're not going to go to a basketball court down the street from you and have LeBron show up and be like, oh, what up? Like, I'll go left, I'll go right. Like, growing up, like you walk down the hill at Creek and like Kelly Slater's walking up with Paddle Con, you're like, I just watched these change this morning. What the hell? Where'd the wig go? What the? Yeah. He just hit Ramen Machado. I love wearing Ramen Machado. Like, what? They're right there. Like, and you're like,
that's what's unique about surfing.
Yeah, that's like
you're in reach and hands on with like all the celebrities.
Yeah, or you can sit on the beach and watch like somewhere you surf every day. Watch a Kelly Slater, John Florence, any of those guys show up and the approach they take to where you surf. Like surfing is also such an art form with everybody taking a different approach to different waves or different approach to the same wave. It's pretty cool to like see top level guys show up to your spot that you go every day and like as a kid or as a grown man, like because you started
those guys show up and just surfed it way better than anybody's ever surfed this spot.
I've been surfing here all my life and I've never been able to do what that guy just did in 20 minutes.
You can't get that anywhere else.
So after that contest, you got sponsored.
Got sponsored by Hobie and
how did it happen?
So Mark Johnson and Sean Douglas were kind of the main guys at the time, and then Sean Hagar. He was like the team manager that really kind of was like in charge of us kids, like keeping us rowdy. And like some of our first trips we did like a rad trip to Florida where I think it was right when I graduated high school. We went to Florida and drove Florida in a boat home, checking out all the shops. We had Hobie stuff and surfing all over Florida.
Fun
with Sean. Being on tour, with Sean Hagar and Pat Drummy and Mark Johnson was with us too, and then my sister was with us, Tommy Loy, and I think Pickle was with us as well. And just like get to have those cool experiences.
What a killer freaking experience that
was.
Oh,
so cool. And like, we had an 18-year-old kid. I think it was I'm pretty sure it was my first time in Florida. Like, and you got to see from, I think we went from shopping, we went to the surf station. It was the farthest north we went, up there in St. Augustine. And then we went all the way down to Pompano Beach. And we did the Easter Fest in Cocoa Beach along the way. And it was an unreal experience. We had like 18-year-old kids seeing that, like
road trip,
getting to sign posters for like hot chicks coming up to you, like signing posters on the beach. Like, I'm just like an 18-year-old kid is the coolest thing ever.
They need to bring that back too.
The posters, I think, gotta come back. I mean, Surfer Magazine is back. Filled out center. That might have to come back. Like, posters on walls. Like I said, the surf movies are starting to make, I think, a proper comeback back to you throw it on and want to go surfing.
Yeah, for sure.
Things like that, and especially nowadays with like the vloggers and stuff, like they're going that way where here's some sick surfing that with a sick song you get stuck in your head, so you go out and try to do the same thing.
Yeah. So when you first got sponsored, it was for Hobie. That was your first sponsor, Hobie Surfboards.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, and especially like growing up in Dana Point, like my dad was like, that's like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
like you're on the list with like Phil Edwards, Mickey Munoz, Herbie Fletcher,
Yeah.
and the list goes on and on and on and on. Like it's just like all these guys, all these shapers. Timmy Patterson, who like when I was growing up was like the coolest guy making shortboards. Everybody at Salt Creek and Lowers like had to have a Timmy Patterson. And it was like Terry Martin, who grew up shaping for Hobie, taught him how to shape. His parents and uncles were running the Hobie factory back in the day. And then he ran it in the 80s. Like it just was this connection to like, almost everybody in the circuit. Dick Brewer was making boards in Hawaii under the Hobie label. Eddie Aikau's most famous photo was on a Hobie. Like Phil Edwards' most famous stuff is all obviously on Hobies.
Yeah.
Herbie Fletcher was doing sides of booties at Pipe Up. Hobie was the first board in Pipeline, right?
Yeah.
Crazy things like that. It's just such a like historic brand and name that's crazy.
Yeah.
And even to like Hobie invented the foam board and like gave it to Clark basically to keep making the blanks so that because he didn't want to deal with it. He didn't want to just make the boards and keep inventing. Like
Dead Boy Network, they're just like, hey, like you're talented, you look like you could do it, let's do this together, you do that, I do this. And
just a firm handshake.
Yeah, and just the inventive mind that like somebody like that had at the time, and like to think of these things and just keep coming up with a new idea and like run with it just over and over again. Like I don't know if you could find somebody in any industry in modern times that's near that level.
Yeah.
As far as one human being like thinking of so many things within an industry and then outside of it. Then he gets older and starts golfing, comes up with some inventions for that, is inventing model airplanes that you fly on, like everything that involved being outdoors and like putting a smile on your face.
Yeah.
Is like
when we had Herbie and Dee Dee on, and she was telling us about Beach Road in Capo. It's like, wait, all those legendary pioneers of surfing all grew up or all lived on the same street.
Yeah, and
Wayne
Schaefer basically, I don't want to like get it wrong, but Wayne Schaefer was basically like, yeah, I'm going to buy all this land and like, I think we should just take it over, like make it ours. And they like took beachfront property and made it like their clubhouse community of like some of the sickest houses that are still around.
Yeah.
Like,
did they do that? Is that what they did?
And from like a lot of the stories I heard, like, pretty much. Like, just took it over, and like even still, they got this like one of the last places in California where there's like a Hobie cat just on the beach, and right there, that little compound there, they still have.
That was like one of the most educational conversations that we had.
Well, the history of those guys, like, and like when we talked to Dick Metz, like, he drops the sentence, yeah, when I hitchhiked around the world. Like, excuse me, sir? Like, I think none of you guys said that. Excuse me, what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I hitchhiked around the world. How does that start? Well, I hitchhiked to Panama. Like,
and you get on some random boat.
That
I read it in the magazine.
Yeah, I seen in Tahiti, the girls had their shirts off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to Tahiti somehow, and I guess the first step is getting to Panama.
Yeah.
So I guess that means the first step is sticking my thumb out and saying I'm going to Panama.
Yeah.
In Laguna Beach, California.
Yeah.
What, dude? Like,
and him.
And at very hard times of like, there's no good road system.
Yeah, no good road system.
No map. Like,
you can't go on your phone and go like, okay, so this bus takes me here.
Yeah.
This train will get me to here. This boat leaves at this time. And then like, it's just the things, the adventures they went on to make
how
what we have
about
today.
waiting for 2 weeks for another ride?
Yeah. You gotta understand yourself, and then imagine having to come up with money to feed yourself while you wait 2 weeks. Like,
lower your bar. Just need a little snack.
Take care of
that generation. Man.
It's insane. Or I don't know if you've had Doc Pascal's story. Same thing, right?
Man.
He ended up. He decided that he wasn't miserable enough, so he went and lived in a shack in the desert in Israel and helped anybody that went by.
So crazy.
He lived close enough to the water to go fishing, but because he wanted
later
to see
on in his life, right?
I think it was before he had the kids and stuff. But
okay.
Like.
Later
on in his young life.
Yes.
I don't want to misquote his exact
I watched
words,
something where he talked
He
about.
briefly talks about it in Surfwise, but in his book, he goes into that adventure of his life a little bit more. Because he was really breaking down, like, you don't really know who you are until you're at your peak misery and what you do to come out of that.
Yeah.
Basically, he put himself in that situation. Jake in a lot more fun way,
Yeah.
kind of did the same thing, obviously. But there's just those guys at that time that did things like that you couldn't imagine doing today because
Hell no.
you're not capable, and if you are capable, it's because it's too easy.
Yeah.
It's not an invention.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
There's got to be some hard times
Like
to make
stuff
those
goes wrong with
wins
one
and
phone
those,
call.
those
Yeah.
sweet spots.
What's that saying now? Good men. Wait, what is it? Hard times make good men.
I don't know.
And God,
Don't come to him.
yeah.
I fucked it up, but it's a good one.
Yeah. No, I know where you're going with it.
Where have you traveled to, like, you know, like internationally? So I've talked about Florida.
So I've been lucky with Hobie. We have a really cool distributor in Japan. So I've gotten lucky enough to go to Japan a couple times.
Nice.
That's like a beautiful place to see. And then
It's so busy there. Huh?
it's so busy, but it's the most controlled, polite chaos.
Yeah.
It's proof that we don't have to be as cranky and gnarly as we are.
Yeah.
They have a
Traffic.
lot more people in a lot smaller space
Yeah.
with a lot less issues of too many people being around.
Yeah.
And it's just because they're polite. Like a great example is during the tsunami that happened forever ago, when there was lines wrapping in the corner to get into the grocery store to get water. People that were at the front of the line that got water would walk through the line, pass out half the water, giving it to everybody in line who was waiting,
Yeah.
so they could drink something while they waited in line.
Yeah.
Well, as they got their supply of water, they were lucky not like. And here we are stealing toilet paper, beating each other up for it, like, for no reason. Just the news said there might be a shortage of toilet paper.
Yeah.
You might get the shits. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And so like, just Japan has that like really polite culture. My dad told me too before I went. Like the weird thing is you don't get culture shock when you get there because you get there, it's just the way things are. It's like when you get home and all of a sudden you're not doing the things you were doing, especially in a place like Japan. That's when you get the culture shock. When you get home and you see our culture
Yeah.
in comparison to what, because you're taking everything in as so new and it's not a shock. We're just, oh, okay, there we go, we do it, and then when you get home, it's like, oh, why don't
We're
we do all
assholes
that?
here.
Why don't we do all that? Like little things like that, like people getting on a train, you could barely fit on the train in Japan.
Oh my gosh.
And it's
Just
you
squeeze
can
on
walk
like
on
sardines.
super easy.
Have you
Everybody
seen-
makes it happen. You try to go on the subway
Yeah.
and you go, and you know the polite
People
people
are
like
punching
everybody's
each
getting
other.
off, get off first, and then you walk on. No, 40 people are trying to walk on
Yeah.
before one person can get off.
No
Like,
graffiti, no trash, no like dirt, no
No
gum on the
bike
floor,
blocks.
nothing, no bike blocks.
Yeah, you
It's,
just
it's like taboo to steal anything there.
what they would hurt in their soul, and
Yeah.
like their great grandfather would know about it, and they're not about to have that happen.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're not about to bring shame to their great grandfather that
Yeah.
has been looking down on them for the last 300 years. Like they really feel that belief in family and heritage of like, do not bring shame to your family name.
Yeah.
Like they put their family name first. Is
Yeah,
a
they're-
good way to put it. Like they're one of the. I think there's a lot of Asian cultures, but Japan, like your first name that you go by is your family name.
Yeah.
It's-
I used to go there quite a bit, and I think I told the story before, but the surf shop is like their club.
Oh yeah, it's like
You know, like everyone that
It's a clubhouse.
Yeah.
and it's crazy. Like they do everything together too.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like a family.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like South Africa back in the first in the summer.
Yeah.
They all go to the beach together so that they can. It's so communal.
Yeah, it's super communal.
And because that's what they see as like
Yeah.
they like what we see as when we first get into it. Oh, it's so communal. And then you like get to this level where you're like, I want every way for myself, and like becomes very selfish. Like it's still I guess maybe new enough over there, or just within their culture, like everything is so communal. Like they really stuck to the communal aspect of the sport. Like,
Yeah.
whatever
That and they're
activity.
workaholics too, but they
They
always
play
had
harder,
they always had like their house and family out in the rural suburb somewhere, and then like the business, the surf shop or
Yeah.
whatever, they're living there. Like, you know, the apartment,
Oh,
or
yeah.
part of it, and then people, you know, they just roll out the mats. They're like, yeah, that's where everybody sleeps,
Yeah.
like Monday through Friday.
Yeah, they work
Then
harder
they take
than-
off for the weekend, and
But
it's
they
like-
play hard too. They,
Yeah.
they work hard so that they can play just as hard. Like,
Yeah.
And the joy they bring is like just unreal. Just
oh, they're
like
so froth.
So just about everything, like just their passion level is so high. And a lot of places around the world, like, you know, it's more worn on their sleeve, the passion.
And you get taken care of when you're over there representing a brand, especially as big as, you know, Hobie.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't know.
I wouldn't say the red carpet rolls out, but that's just who that culture is. They're showing you a good time.
The only time you pull out your wallets is when they're like getting to the airport and buying gifts to bring home.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're just
taken care of.
Yeah, taken care of.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go.
I love going there.
It's
the
such a
food's
cool
good.
place.
The culture is insane, and the people, they're definitely go out of the way to make you feel.
Oh yeah.
We gotta go do a late night with Chalky tour.
Fuck,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I'd go there and doc surf prescriptions.
Yeah.
It was his distributor, and he had a shop. And after I'd done my work, I'd hang out in the shop, and all these people would be there.
Yeah.
After work, like drinking beers and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
they freaking barbecue in the parking lot, and then go to the karaoke and everybody sings.
Karaoke's the
Like,
funnest over there.
Yeah.
It's like real big business. Like, it's like
everything.
real
And you
legit.
get the
Like,
private room, it's just your squad.
Yeah.
So you can be standing on the couch losing your mind.
And you go to this hole in the wall, like, it's a quarter of the
especially in
size of this room, and it's the best restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And then all the families that go there have their bottles of wine or sake,
Yeah.
and they just leave it there.
Oh, it's so cool.
And no one messes with everyone's names on a medallion.
Nobody's backfilling with water.
Yeah. But it's like, this is freaking insane.
Oh, yeah.
I wish we could do this here. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and
culture
then-
shock when you come back.
Oh, it's always when you come back.
Yeah.
And then I've been with Surfer Sealing. I've gotten to see probably most of gotten to go to, we do Cabo events like twice a year.
Tell us more about Surfer Sealing.
So Surfer Sealing, we started by Israel Pasquith, so one of Doc's sons. And so he basically had a son with autism, and he was actually, I don't want to get totally wrong, but I believe it was a contest in Makaha, was doing the contest, and his son Isaiah was throwing a temper tantrum at the time. And he basically was like, fuck, this just won't stop. And just kind of as almost out of anger, frustration, we're just going to go out in the water. I'm just going to get you off the beach. Just threw him on the board. They paddled out, caught a couple waves, and probably fell off a few times and just was in the water. And he calmed down in the water. The tantrum was over. They got back to the beach, and then on the car ride home, he was just singing. I think it was a Sarah McLachlan song, as he would tell you, I believe. And it was he just was singing, happy, and for a stretch. And so I was like, wait, what? Was it that what did it? Was us going out there, something that calmed whatever was anxiety he was having? Because with autism, a lot of it is there's something going on in their brain, whether it's anxiety or something they can't just simply say, hey, mom, dad, I'm upset by this right now. So it comes out just in a tantrum. It might be self-harm, hitting mom and dad, trying to kick the car window out, whatever it might be. And for whatever reason, he thought that might help. So he got home, and I want to say Isaiah was 5 or 6, so he was getting into kindergarten, first grade. And so some of the other dads, he was like, hey, do you guys want to go to Stan? Maybe I'll try to take your kids out, see if this is a thing. And so it kind of built from there as these kids that have these, I don't even like saying issues, because a lot of it is the parts of their brain working too good and not being able to exude it. But when they got in the water, something happened where they could resettle. To me, after all the years of seeing it, I think it's something where they actually get to surrender, whereas everything's so planned out, everything that goes wrong, you fix it. With the ocean, you can't say stop. It's going to keep coming, and they're smart. They understand. I gotta kind of give up and just take it and hope that it works out. And when they come back from that terrifying thing that they think everything's going to go wrong, they come back and make it safe to the beach and did something fun in the middle of it. All of a sudden it's oh no, what else is out there?
Yeah.
And especially, I saw this was on Real Sports. They get what these parents call the no day, where you go to the dock and it's, no, he's not going to get a driver's license. He's not going to be going to prom with girls. He's not going to live on his own when he gets to be of that age. He's still going to be at your house. You're going to have a 4-year-old for the rest of your life that can't.
Yeah.
And then we take them surfing, which a lot of typical kids can't do. But especially if you grow up in Michigan, you grow up in Tennessee, whatever, we're back east, we have families that drive 10, 12 hours to come to the event to surf for 30 minutes because it has that effect on them. And so it kind of came from that, and now we do 20-something events a year, probably on average 200 kids an event. And so that's why I was back east then, and it's just pretty cool. And also for the parents, like Izzy always likes to say, it's like when we're doing those events, that's 200 to 250 families on the beach that on a typical day when you go to the beach, your kid has a tantrum, like the family next to you is weirded out because they're throwing sand on them, and like your whole day you're not apologizing. I'm sorry. Like, just trying to go to the grocery store, you have to apologize to every person walking by because your kid's screaming or throwing something out of your car, or whatever it might be. You're constantly apologizing, constantly feeling bad for existing. And so like beyond us taking the kids surfing for 30 minutes, giving the kid the confidence they get from doing something that they've been told they can't do and all that, the parents also get a day of like true acceptance. Like here's these cool surfer dudes that are supposed to be this top echelon of human beings, the watermen. A lot of our guys are from the North Shore of Oahu, who are like big time lifeguards. Like Zane Icao helps us from the Icao family. They put on an event in Hawaii. The Young family puts on an event we just had in Maui. Like legit watermen that like have, I don't want to say a right, but like they're at a place in their life where they're such a top human being that like for these parents to see top human beings treating their kid that some maybe even teachers they have don't treat on the same level of human as like these surf dudes do, and they're taking them out like in dangerous conditions and trusting them with us, like because we go out like it'll be as big as that door, like we'll send it. like I can show you pictures of it's like I got a picture of a 2-year-old where like we're in North Carolina as a hurricane went like and just passed its head high like barrels, and we're taking off, no leash, tandem board, 2-year-old, thing is heaving, and like so Izzy likes to call it extreme special ed, which it can be sometimes. So we're like putting them also in these like dangerous positions, and they come out the other side like fuck, they can do anything now. Their parent gets to see that too. Their parent gets to see like, oh, like maybe this no isn't a no, maybe this no isn't a no. Like my kid can do a lot of stuff if he can do that. Like and then they get to go show the kids at school that maybe bullying him, or just the kids think, oh, like you're autistic, you're this, you're that, like you're less than me, like whatever. All of a sudden, like they go back to Michigan, like, talk shit to me. Like, you want to see what I did this weekend while you're like playing video games? Check that out. Like so that confidence level they can get of like, I did some shit, right? And like I am me, I'm like a slightly better individual because of that, and like what else can I do? Type of thing. Is like
definitely a powerful confidence booster, but yet it's got to give the parents
like
a little comfort too, and be like, wow, maybe we shouldn't be not coddling or kind of holding them back.
Well, and Josh Tracy, R.I.P., he's passed away, but he really put it to me in like a great term. He when I was younger, I was like 16 when I got in there, and I was a small 16-year-old. I want to say when I was like 18 when we were doing an event. It might have been the Doheny event, it might have been I want to say it was a San Diego event. And you're trying to pick the kid up gingerly, like you don't want to hurt him. And he's like, bro, basically like, bro, don't be a pansy, like just grab him. Like he's a kid. Like he's autistic. He's like, but what, when you were his age, what? Like you're playing every sport outside, every day you came home, you got a new cut, new bruise, like whatever if he gets a little bruise, like he's a fucking kid. That's what happens. And like it like triggered something in me, like, oh, they are still just a kid, like they are constantly coddled that, but like what they don't get to do sometimes is just go be a kid. Like go run into a wall and like come back with a bump on your head. I'm using two personal examples, but but you know what I mean. And it got me past that point of like, oh, like I can send it with these kids, and if we fall, like it's just like when I fall, like you pop up, you're fine. Like even if they're scared after, like that's something else. Like some kids also too, like you get them out there and you eat it, like because like I said, we're going on like decent waves. Like sometimes you take off, you're stuck in the lip because your kid's too big and you can't get down it, so you go up the lip, you pearl your cartwheeling over the kid, you're almost in a panic, like, oh shit, this kid's about to be underwater drowning, and they pop up like, bro, you good? That was incredible.
Let's do it again.
You're like, okay, you're like already have the speech in your head, like wiping out's the funnest, right? Like that's what I like about surfing is when we eat it really hard. Like in case they come up scared and they're like giving you the speech, you're like, all right, perfect. Let's go. Like
Well, we
yeah,
have to know from
loves it.
personal experience, like how rewarding surfing is, even when the waves aren't great,
Yeah.
just to get out there.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
refreshing, you know, you kind of feel like you're at peace, whatever drama you have.
Yeah.
Work, family, kids, like life, like girlfriend, what, you know,
Whatever it
whatever.
is, you get to
You get
forget
out and
about
you're
it.
like, it's your little outlet, you know, and
It's crazy how, you know, when you were saying it at the beginning, it's so therapeutic.
For
right?
everybody.
For everybody. And it's funny how surfing, you know, we take it for granted.
Well, I think, not to like put down, I'm not trying to say that because of wave pools and stuff, but I think the ocean, moving water, has a big thing to do with it. Because it's like, you know, I always say we're however much percent water.
Yeah.
Our blood is constantly flowing through us. Like, even when you go in a lake, I don't think it feels the same as when you go in the ocean. Like, you can go lay in the ocean and literally just float, and you almost feel like your
The energy
brain
level,
is
yeah.
existing, but nothing else. Like,
Yeah.
you're in such a like even keeled state.
Yeah.
Yeah, like especially swimming.
There's an
you know?
energy.
There's an energy given
Yeah.
to you from the ocean, as our boy Nick I says from Common Sense. The ocean gives me power. Like, but that's a kind of a real thing.
yeah.
It's like an alien life form that we go into that is more us than the land is that we're on in a lot of forms of reality, you know? Like,
Mhm.
a lot of times you feel way more comfortable being underwater in the silence.
Yeah.
And a lot of these kids, like, you see them plugging their ears and stuff on land, it's because there's so much information coming in that is just flying out. Like, they're literally trying to shut out the noise.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of them too, they go underwater, and it's because there's a lot of times you get out there and the kid just wants to go under and kick it. They love being in pools and just going underwater because they're in that like kind of flat and floaty state
Yeah.
without any
Noise.
noise coming in them except what they're thinking. Which I think, like I said, a lot of autism from what I've experienced, and I've seen a lot of it, and what you hear doctors say is there's parts of the brain that are basically working too well for the other parts to keep up with sometimes is
Yeah.
why you end up
Chaos.
with those issues that kind of become chaotic. Your brain's going like this, or like you're in a room with a bunch of people, you're hearing every conversation because a part of your brain is trying to like register everything.
Yeah.
Whereas we hear Charlie Brown
Focus,
voices,
you get
we're
focused
hearing
out.
Charlie Brown's
Yeah.
teacher everywhere except the conversation we're having. They're hearing the conversation we're having, the conversation they're having. Like,
Yeah.
all that
Everybody.
information is trying to get in. The music as well. Any buzzing, the light flickering, like, all that information is being taken in. And
High
sometimes
alert, like
It's
high intensity.
hypersensitivity.
Yeah.
And when you get in the ocean, I don't know if it takes them to such a heightened elevation because of the movement
Yeah.
that it gets them so high up that they lose like it
Calming.
calms them down, or it almost is just that movement is actually calming them. From my experience, I think it's the movement that's just actually
Yeah,
calming.
I think the surfing, you know, the movement, the power of the ocean, and you riding it.
Well, and that's the
riding-
thing too. Like a lot of kids will be temper tantrum climbing all around you, and like you finally get them to sit still, and they're still hitting or just screaming. Sometimes just screaming. And I've kind of noticed recently that it might be some kids they don't have once they get an emotion, whether it's happiness, sadness, complete anger, complete joy. Like there's one volume of their what comes out of them, and it's a scream that like maybe the parents don't even know. Like, oh, he's stoked. It just sounds exactly the same as when he's the most pissed off he's ever been. Like,
Yeah.
the same sound comes out, the same look on the face comes out, maybe like just trying to spit out whatever is in there.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they're just screaming top of their lungs, but then you take off and like get up and like go down the line where it's like the wind in the face and like to them flying. Sometimes
Yeah.
they're little and they're on their shoulders, so they're literally like
Gliding.
7 feet in the air, flying through the air, like down the line on a fast wave. Like I said, we'll be surfing waves that big, like bottom turning, they're looking up at the lip. Like
Yeah.
it's not just like gentle. It can be, which is nice.
Over the years, I'd like to know, like, I'm sure you don't know, but like how many families have either relocated to the beach or have picked up, like the parents like, oh, my kid, this makes them so much happier, you know.
Oh, yeah, well, I would
so much
say-
joy. Like maybe we learn
I
to
mean,
surf. Like
just
parents-
pure numbers wise, we've surfed with well over 100,000 kids in the 27, 30 years, however long it's been.
Yeah.
And so there's every event, at least in my interaction, we have 20, typically at our events, there's 25 of us surfing with 10 to 15 kids throughout the event. And so from just my personal interactions, how many parents are like, yo, like, So like, what can I get him that like would be safe for me to like be standing there watching him?
Yeah.
I'll be like, because like a lot of them like know how to swim, they love the water and stuff. It's just the ocean safety. And I'm like, well, we get like we use those bully boards. Like, we get these bully boards. Where, like, Dad goes to Costco and all he has to know how to do is jump with his chest on the tail and ride a whitewash, and the kid's small enough like he can stand up, and your husband going waist deep water and he's never surfed before.
Yeah.
And he can do this and like so
if
we
that
have
gives-
a lot of those type of questions.
Yeah.
Like, what can we do to like keep this going while you guys are gone? And then we run into the conundrum of we want to introduce it to new people, but kids who have already done it like rely on it. Like there's kids that they sleep with their trophy or their medal every night until the next year they do it. And their trophy, they kiss it in the morning before school every day. Some kids, they wear them, like we've had parents email us like, oh yeah, my kid hasn't taken his medal off since. Like he only takes it off to shower. And he wears it every day to school, his medal that says service healing, like he did.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. So you can't be like, oh well now, like, sorry, like we only want new people every year.
Yeah.
But you also want to have an effect on the parents who haven't gotten to have the chance. So it's like, we actually do like a lottery now where it's half new kids, half repeat type of thing, so that we can
So loud.
show it to more people, but also these people who rely on us to come to the community, because it's all, each community like fundraises and sets up their zone. We show up, do our event, moving, like what's fun about our, like my dad was a roadie, did the full live out of a suitcase, tour bus stop to stop, and now I get to do it taking kids with autism surfing. Like, I drive across the country, pick everybody up in Maryland. 25 of us take 200 kids surfing in Maryland. The next day we wake up, get in the car, drive to Virginia Beach, wake up, do 2 days of it, wake up, get in the car, drive to the next hotel, like we're living out of the bag just like a rock band, except we're working all day instead of all night.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty cool thing to be a part of. And when you're doing something that heavy as well, like guys come on tour that you meet for the first time and they're brothers within an event. Like we had 4 or 5 guys that it was their first time ever doing an event coming on tour with us to Maryland, all the way from Iconic. And like within like 3 kids, like they're almost in tears hugging us like, dude, we are brothers, like this is like for life, like this is nuts. And then like sometimes you get kids, because also our charity, like we don't say no. Like if there's a dude your size coming through the line and they're trying to get his life jacket on, he's already punched Joe Moses in the face, elbowed some lady in the nose, like
I'm
like,
going.
I got him. Like I got him. Like I'll get my board ready in the short break. Like just get him here. Like and we'll like take, because like you gotta get, sometimes like you gotta get past that point of that fight to find out. Not every time, but like you might find out like you have kids throwing that tantrum. You get them in the water, they ride one wave, and you're like, all right, like, we did it. Like you're done. And they're slamming the board, like pointing back out to sea. And it's a whole other temper tantrum that they don't want to be done. And you're like, wait a second, and I'll call them out on it. And I'll be like, bro, you would tell me how much you hated this 8 minutes ago. You rode one wave, I got a black eye, and now you want to go again? Hell yeah, let's go. Like that's when you want to see the turnaround, like, especially when you're doing as long as.
Well, these parents, you know, I'm sure whether they have the resources or not, you know, they're exacerbating every option to like help the kids. Therapy, this, you know, going through every avenue of like, you know, how do we deal with this? And then like, then all of a sudden the surfing, you know, Surfer's Heal comes through, it changes. I would only imagine like how stoked the parents are.
I had a kid getting chills just thinking about it. This was in Australia at what's it called? Currumbin, the alley. That's Currumbin, right? On the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Where it's got the alley that comes out and it's got the rock at the top. I think it's the Currumbin alley. And we're doing an event there, and like I said, like we'll take kids that are like severe, like where this kid like can't go be at school, can't go be a program, like, hasn't left his house because of his violence and like years. Took them 3 hours from when they got to the beach to get him out of the car. Another hour to get him down to the shoreline. And then me and my buddy Blake, who's like always my roommate on tour, I got him into it. I've known him since birth. We got him out there and got him on the board, got him out, and he has like scratches all over him, like bite marks where it looks like he almost bit through here, like on himself, like gnarly. Like, this kid isn't like, I hate saying it, but like society hasn't welcomed this like beautiful child into their world. And so this is the shit his mom, that she was dealing with it like on her own, tiny like 5-foot lady. This kid's like almost as big as you but skinny, maybe even a little taller, and just like all this energy, all this intensity, and we get him out there And this place is like, we were literally like in the alleyway, so it's like waves this big, and so we can just walk around, like, got him on the board and get him into wave. He's standing up, like, and he's putting his hands up, like he's never done anything like happier in his life. Like, I literally had children, I'm sorry.
Damn.
And he gets in, and he's skipping on the beach in joy. And then when he was finally done, like, just sat down and just watched. And then it was time for him to leave, like, got up, walked off with mom, like, holding hands, all calm, like
no drugs, no like, you know, therapy, you know, whatever, like, you know, what you would get out of a book or
yeah, exactly. And like I said, you have to get past that.
The simple fact of surfing and
one to her too. Like I said, to her, it's also like there's two surf guys that came all the way from California, Hawaii, like all the way to Australia.
Yeah.
And her kid that like can't go to school because like he can't.
He's a danger to himself.
He's a danger to himself and others around. Like, can't be a part of society. Like us dumb surf dudes, you know, like got him out there, got a smile on his face, got him to walk up the beach.
There should be some like
you've been doing this
government
for 20 plus years now.
Yeah, like I started when I was 16, so I got 21 years.
You know, it's so rad that you know you guys do this. It's all volunteer and donations and stuff, but like it's crazy that like this hasn't been brought up to a national level or state level where it's like there's proper resources and funds. That
well, it's a weird thing because we're not a bunch of doctors and scientists.
Yeah,
it's a guy who had a kid with autism, took him out surfing. Like that's the coolest thing is when Izzy's at the beach. Now that he's older, he kind of just hangs on the beach. And he gets to like just talk to his parents as another parent.
Yeah.
But as a parent, he gets to see this every day, and like some of the parents obviously like come to the beach. Hey, there's like waves out there. Like it's like we've been to Australia where there's typhoons and the beach is closed. Nobody is allowed on the beach. Our North Shore lifeguards go talk to the lifeguards and convince them like we're good. We can go surf with autistic kids who don't swim. We can go do that.
Yeah.
And the beach is closed to entering the water. They let us go.
Wow.
Like that's the type of like stuff that we're like that we're that good at it.
Yeah.
Without tooting our horn, but like we go to that level of pulling shit off.
Yeah. Well, you're here. We're doing a tour. Like you know, like this is our day. Like you got to let us go out.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be safe, and we might ask you for a Band-Aid. We're all like I said, have North Shore lifeguards, and all of us are versions of it. We can get the kids safe enough until you guys show up on the beach. We're good.
Yeah. It's crazy because, like you said, you know, it's Izzy, right?
Israel Vasquez, yeah. Izzy.
And he has an autistic kid, so he stumbles upon surfing, making his kid feel good.
Yeah.
And like, if it works for him, let's do it for other kids. And honestly, it's crazy because like you were saying, you know, no pills, there's no like medical shit.
Well, and that's why it's hard to get like the funding and things. It's like there's no real way to prove it other than like the parent being like, no, my kid's behaving better, and it's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He rode 3 waves for 30 minutes, and like something's like to me it's like a triggering thing where like you're going into this situation that's the most terrifying. Look at all this white water flying at you, like you don't know, like you think you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And then you go do it, and not only do you not die, you have a blast.
Yeah.
And you do something you've never done. You get back to the beach. Your mom is probably going to give you whatever you want. You get a trophy or a medal. Like, then it's like, okay, so like this next bad thing that comes my way, you know, this kid teasing me at school. That's like, I'm going to throw a temper tantrum about like, I made it through that. I think.
Yeah.
Like everything that comes their way after, I think they kind of can brush off them a little more.
Yeah. And hopefully, you know, I'm sure some kids that doesn't stick, but you know, hopefully.
But at least the parents now know, oh, this stuff comes up. Like, they can go do these fun activities. They can
use it as they can use it as a point of, you know, communication. It's like, hey, like this is way mellower than like the day you surfed, and then just bringing them back to that mindset. Like, you remember how terrified you were, like the waves. This is nothing
all
compared to
that stuff.
surfing. This is nothing compared to the huge wave you caught. You know, even
Exactly.
though it
All
was
those
probably
type of things.
mediocre, but
And
in their mind, it's like,
Like I
It's
said,
the-
terrifying.
It's
Yeah.
the endorphins, right? That's
Yeah.
being released. That's the rush.
All the
they're
same
getting.
shit we get out of surfing,
Yeah.
so do they. They might not be able to literally say, "Oh, this is what it felt like," and a lot of us can't put it into words.
Yeah.
For instance, I was watching that new show. A lot of our buddies are working on the high rescue surf, and like Zeke Lau had a little cameo in it right in the beginning, and they asked the Florida ground, "He's kind of, you scared?" He's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Good." Like every time you like paddle out, especially like obviously as you get older, it's only waves and consequences, but like it's you feel fear and you go anyways. Like,
yeah,
they same thing. Like they feel fear, like they go anyways, and then so the next time they feel fear, they can go anyways. Like
yeah.
those type of things. And whereas for their entire life, maybe it took them until 25 to surf with us for the first time, and they haven't. Like some of the kids, like probably when we paddle them out, they might be 15 years old, and us paddling away from the beach was the farthest distance they've ever had between them and mom and dad.
Isn't that crazy?
Like when you really break it down sometimes,
Yeah.
especially like a 5-year-old that hasn't even gone to school yet, like they have only been right here,
Yeah.
like not even 50 yards away out in the water.
Yeah.
Like that's the farthest physically they've been away from mom or dad, as far as the parent giving that trust to us.
Yeah.
And then having it come back and work out, and the kid trusting that their parents doing it. Like, you've never let me have a babysitter. You're gonna let this scary looking dude covered in tattoos paddle me out into that? You're crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
They must look up
But
to you
it
guys
all-
as like superheroes, you know? Like
Yeah.
you guys must be
it
like,
is a pretty cool feeling, but it's also like I saw a thing on his. I think you might have liked it. The thing with the Batman saying what up to the
Oh,
adult
yeah.
with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
And it's like what we do is a super good example of just like we go surfing every day. It's like one of the easiest parts of our day. So like bring a kid with autism with you to like the easiest part of your day and maybe like make their day, make their life, make their month. Like it's so easy. So like why not just do it?
yeah.
Just
But
like that
it's-
dude,
it's
it's
also-
so easy to dress as Batman.
It's
and go give
also-
a guy a hug. And his day, his life is made.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? And it's so
It's-
simple for you. Like,
It takes experience and patience, though, too.
it definitely does. There's obviously a
I
good way to put it
can
is
do it all the time.
a good way to put it is what we like to say to like Clay Marzo, his superpower is his Zaster.
Yes.
Is why he surfs so good. Like it's part of like we like to say some of the kids like this is your this is your superpower. There's a world's strongest man right now. And he'll say it, my superpower is my autism because nobody can do what my brain works in a way that becoming the world's strongest man, the routine it takes and everything. My superpower is I love routine.
Yeah.
The thing that most people hate, they don't want to do this lift 500 times for 5 hours straight. I can't wait to be
Yeah.
locked into a routine. Like that is their superpower. And so like that's the way they use their superpower. My superpower, you could say, is that I'm capable enough at surfing to take a kid out my size, bigger, smaller, with a tantrum. My superpower is I can bring him with me and make his day.
Yeah.
And everybody has
Takes
a superpower that can help.
person with like personality and almost like what do they call it? Doctor's bedside manners, right?
Yeah, exactly. Same deal. Like when you become a
You
doctor,
know it's
that's
gonna
your
be tough, but
superpower.
you do it anyway because of the joy. Like
Yeah.
it's, I'm sure you know everybody's different, and like you said, just based on all the examples, you said, hey, like it takes hours for these kids to get down here, and they don't want
Yeah,
to
you
do
never
it, and
know.
like you know, you just know it. You've seen success, you know it works, you know how much joy it brings, and no matter how difficult it is, like your mission is to like make it happen.
Well, and it teaches you too. Like I mean, especially nowadays, we don't see people as humans. We see them as numbers and things like that. It really teaches you like when all you're at the beach, you're unloading the boards, you're setting up the tents. Like there's your reality of like the day,
Yeah.
and then you spend this 30 minutes with the kid and their story of how they got to that point in time and life and what it took for them to get there. There's a whole story behind it with every person, and their story is hard as hell. And it really teaches you like no matter what's going on, like just be respectful to those people. Like because it's thrown in your face when you're doing what you do. Like
Yeah.
tough days, people having tough days. That shouldn't be tough days. Like I said, like going to the grocery store shouldn't be a mission.
Yeah.
Going to the beach with your family shouldn't be a mission and ordeal. Like, but it is for these families. And like we get to give them a day where it's a little bit less than a mission ordeal because they get to be happy the little 30 minutes of it they're with us.
Yeah.
But, you know, they might have had 2 temper tantrums getting from the house to the car. And then the car ride might have been like, oh, we tried to go to Dunkin' Donuts, they weren't open yet, so we left earlier than normally leave the house. That's a temper tantrum, because now you gotta wait a little bit longer. Like, just everybody has their story to get where they are in reality when you have your interaction with them. And like, you gotta give everybody that chance of like, they might be having a shit day.
Yeah, they're probably so calculated on their scheduling because it like to not have these interruptions or whatever.
Exactly.
Most of those people have to have routines.
Yeah.
Both
like
for
I
the
said,
parents'
and then-
sake and for the kids to kind of keep it like to get through days and.
But it just teaches you to take that like everywhere in life. Like, like me driving up here, it's my 30 minutes. You had to go to Long Beach, do all that to get here. You had your day to get here. Like, it could have been hard as hell. Yours could have been simple. Mine, I was lazy all day. It was the easiest day I could ever have. Like, but everybody has a different day. And when you're interacting, like, you're all just fucking people.
Yeah.
You all have your shit that got you that moment in time.
So Surfers Healing, they do it up and down the coast. They do it
Most of the East
internationally.
Coast. We only do 3 events in California, and actually this year too. But yeah, we go all over. And like I said, each spot kind of brings us there. Like, so like North Carolina, they'll fundraise for our event, like pick the beach, do all that. Maryland does it there. Southampton was our most, or Maui was our most recent event, but Southampton before that. It's just kind of, each spot has their own little community. And it's funny because they all do it a little different. They all have their different protocols of how the volunteers are set up and things like that. But it takes a lot to put it on, like,
For sure.
because we also, besides the 25 of us that come to surf, we need guys in the short break that are capable of dealing with the kids as well to get them onto the board with us. Have enough water knowledge to know like our giant tandem board is going to come flying at you, potentially with a kid on it. You need to be able to get out of the way and grab the board quick. Get it away from the kids so the kid's not getting smoked by it. Grab the kid because he might be a runner that's going to run away. Grab the kid so a board doesn't come flying in from somebody else. Like, so you need a lot of stuff. Like, it's a very controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Our events, and that's what makes it pretty fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good time. It's definitely, like I said, good experience.
It's awesome there's humans out there like yourself,
Yeah.
you know, that go and put others before themselves, or at least some
Like I
days in
said,
service.
it's something
service
that
to humanity.
everybody has their skill or their superpower, and sometimes your superpower is if you're capable of putting on a Batman outfit and giving somebody a hug. Like, that can be the superpower that day. Like, some pretty easy stuff. And for us to go, like I said, going surfing and showing somebody that joy isn't that difficult at all. But to them, it means like, especially these
You gotta let
parents
us know. We'll volunteer.
yeah, next to me or next, hopefully they're going to try to do a mini one during Ohana Fest. I'll get you guys.
That's
in touch
coming
with
up,
Izzy.
right?
Like this weekend, yeah.
Oh shit.
So yeah, we were going to talk about. He was talking with the lifeguards down there about doing something, during like a real small, just kind of exhibition type.
Yeah.
Thing. I'll give you guys his info because I'll be back east.
Yeah.
Get you guys in touch for sure.
So going back to you
Uh-huh.
and Hobie,
Mm-hmm.
you started riding for him at 13, and you started doing contests.
Yeah, I mean, I was already doing contests, and then, like I said, with the coalition stuff, and then obviously once you get your driver's license, you start working at the store, and then still I was doing contests, and then when I got my driver's license, that's also when I started working at Passport Surf Camp and got involved with Surf Camp. And so I kind of would be a week or two down there every summer when it was the busiest, go away from my surface healing and stuff, like do those events, and then pretty much work at the shop, do contests when I could, and just try to serve my brains out.
Yeah.
Never have to grow up.
When was your first? How did your first pro model come about?
So it was pretty much, I still am not a large individual, but when I was 16, I was a pretty small dude, and the Wave a Nose Rider from Bing was kind of making its comeback. That was like the popular board. Joel was making his boards, doing like basically a replica of it. And Tyler Warren got one that was like almost a replica of it, same outline and stuff, and had the boxy rails and the concave with the edge. And Terry Martin at the time, I wanted that type of board, but I was small. I wanted some V in it. I wanted more pinched rails. I wanted softer concave. I didn't want like edge in it. So just little tweaks. And then so Terry made it. He's like, oh, this should be like something we make. and threw his hat on the ground as he does as he's making it, got all pumped. He's like, this is really something to make. And so he made like one for the shop, and it kind of became a pretty popular model pretty fast. And I think it's still our top seller, at least between, and then we advanced it. So we did that one, and then as time progressed, we did the Uncle Buck 2, which is obviously like when you make boards for the rack, they're made to be more user friendly. So a little fuller rail and stuff, a little flatter rocker. And then, but my personal ones were made real pinched and had the edge on the deck, or edge in the tail all the way up on the deck to create some more suction for nose riding and things like that. So then we made the Uncle Buck 2, where we kind of made it more what I like, because actually Japan, our distributor, was like, we want something with more like a tail rocker, out, nose rider, those are becoming more popular. So Gary was like, I think we should just do your outline and just tweak it and we'll call it Uncle Buck 2. I was like, all right, yeah. And like now, that one's been around for probably 10 years now. And that's what I ride pretty much every day. I ride a 9.7 of that. And then probably a year and a half ago, I wanted something that worked a little better. Like, I'm older now, when I want to surf creek or even beach breaks, unless it's pumping, I'm gonna longboard, like, so I can chase waves around. Like, I'm not like some Grom that like just has to ride a short course and nobody yells at me. Like, I'm older than all the kids that are yelling at everybody type of thing. And so I wanted something that would be still a log, still that 50-50 rail vibe, but be able to like really throw it around more, fit it in tubes a little more, but then also kind of be something where when it's small, it would still work. And so we came up with Uncle Buck, which Uncle Buck. So we kind of just funked up the Uncle Buck 2. So it's the same rocker, same edge in the tail, but just pulled in more. We slid the wide point back a bit to make it a little more like a pig in the way they turn and things like that. And then just made it a little narrower to fit in tubes and be a little looser. So that's our newest one. That is, I mean, it's what I've been riding most of, is the way the waves have been. Most of them surfing creek instead of Santa.
Yeah.
And so I've been mostly riding that. I'm getting used to that. I just got a new 9.3 that just like feels so free and loose. But then when you go to the nose to hang 10, it does it real stable, real nice on, you know, when you're surfing a more powerful overhead wave as compared to, it still has that loggy feel on a more powerful wave, the way you move around on it, the stability, but then when you put it on rail, it feels like a board you can put on rail.
Wow. A 9.3.
9.3, yeah. And then, so I go 9.3.
Imagine trying to move a 9.3.
You know, I didn't do a lot of longboarding when I was a kid, just because I was that short border hot dog, like, just mindset. And then as I got older, I started watching a lot more. And I've had a couple longboards over the years, and I want to get it, like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's like, it's interesting because I've gotten to announce the US Open a couple times with Todd Klein and Jeff, and so like those guys, they're full shortboard guys, and so when I went there announcing, but they're like, it's so different.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely compares apples to oranges. Like I don't think they realize until I mentioned it. Like when you're hanging 10, like you're in the air.
Yeah.
Like if your board is locked in the right way, like if you look close at the photo of someone hanging 10, like, you are flying.
Yeah, you're on the
like a shortboarder doing it in air, they're in the air for what? That split second, you're going through it and you're landing, like going off a bike jump. When you're hanging 10, like you're not making contact with water while standing still for, if you're at a good wave, like you could do that for 40 seconds, literally just standing without water touching you. You're just on a platform as if it's a diving board, like moving through the air.
So crazy.
And like, it's just a completely different like feeling than like, you know, launching an air on a shortboard. It's like apples to oranges, but a different rad feeling that once you get it, you're like, whoa. Like I said, when I was learning to surf, I was at Doheny on a shortboard, watching from behind the way the tail came out and things like that, and I just thought that was like the coolest thing.
Yeah, when you're on a shortboard, it's like, I want to go fast, I want to do killer turns, or I want to get barrel, hit the lip, but on longboard, you're like, I just want to get to the nose, I want to be able to like, you know,
and you still
glide better than
like
the other
guy.
guy.
The real principle is longboarding, like, especially when you're doing heat, is hang 10, turn hard, finish your legs.
Yeah.
Like that's like, you want to take off and you want to hang 10 for as long as you can, as far back and as bully as you can, and then when that opportunity is in there, you want to turn as hard as you can.
But I think it's social, you know, social media, the algorithms and stuff, because it's like, I would never just go, when I was younger, go watch a longboard movie, and that's where that was what we did. You know, you watch these long surf movies, that's kind of how, but then when, like, I'd say 10 years ago, like social media, you know, especially like Instagram and all the, like, you know, clips started popping up, and then I started following, like,
Well, I think that
a bunch of the guys,
sucks you in more too.
I love watching it.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking rad.
What's rad about it too is like, if you, like for instance, when I grew up going to the US Open,
Yeah.
I always found it weird. Like as a kid, I noticed it, but like obviously back then the brands in it because they only threw the money at the shortboarding. But when you were like standing on the beach, and unless it was Kelly Slater and Andy Irons, like the top shortboard guys, everybody was there cruising around, like at the booths, and there'd be people watching the contest, there'd be people tricking out on the pier, and then the longboard heat started, and it was like, oh fuck, you can't move.
Yeah.
The beach is packed. You look at the pier, it's packed. Like, and I think it's the people who don't know, like the surfing that you've seen. When you go watch a shortboard, if you don't know shortboarding, it all looks the same.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that guy must be blowing it because he didn't do the air spinning thing that guy did, and everybody else has done it. Even though, like, yeah, but that guy, as we would know, like, that carve that guy did, and this and that, like, that's better than what everybody else is doing because he's the only one doing it, type of thing. But there, like, it's harder to read. Whereas you're a layman who's never surfed, you show up to Huntington, you walk down to the beach, and it's like, oh, look at that guy's hanging 10. The way he did that turn was way different. And I like that guy.
Yeah.
I want to see what that guy is. That guy is
Clear
cool, but
distinction.
like, it's very distinct, the personalities, the style, like, and I think, like, surf industry back in the day maybe kind of blew it without, they didn't attack that, like, separate personalities that went on. Like, yeah, Joel Tour, Josh Basher, and those guys back in the day, surfing at Huntington, everybody's coming to watch, and when you talk to them on the beach, like, they're completely different people. The way they approach a wave is completely different. 90% of the guys that go out on Huntington, especially like when you're trying to qualify, when you're not quite at the CT level yet, you're literally trying to fit into a curriculum, a format of do as many times as you can here, do your hop, do a couple more, and like
it is shortboarding so like redundant, repetitive.
There's not that like separated personality.
No.
To a layman, obviously, us knowing each other, like being amongst the community, this guy's obviously way different than this guy, like, and you know the approach.
Yeah.
But to a layman, when you walk the beach, you can very clearly see, especially back then when you had like Taylor Jensen doing 4-foot airs, as Joel splitting the peak hanging 10 doing the Solar X crotch grab, the exact opposite. Like it's two different ends of the world happening at the same time in front of you, and you can put your heart behind this one, put your heart behind this one, and then kind of with Instagram nowadays follow this guy's separate personality, his separate vibe. When you look at the shortboarding, like, and I'm an outsider but an insider enough where it's like, if you look at it, it's like, okay, that guy surfs like that guy, he's wearing the same shirt as that guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of just, there they are.
Yeah, they are.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is very much more like, it's like it's a basketball team in uniforms, whereas longboarders are a bunch of skateboarders who show up at the skate park doing, oh, that guy likes that corner pocket over there, he keeps hitting. This guy likes that over there, he keeps hitting. Like,
it's a great
you see the differences.
Yeah.
It's not as uniform.
The line, I mean, like the lines and approach are so more unique than like
Exactly.
the
From guy to guy.
It's crazy because it's more technique than meets the eye.
Exactly. Those little intricacies of footwork too, like for instance, like hanging 10 is so much different than hanging 5. Like seeing a guy hang 5 on the shoulder holder, somebody who doesn't know, like, oh whoa, like that was a long nose up. But then like somebody knows, like, oh, that guy only nose up half as long, but like he was hanging both feet off the end, and like his feet were in the barrel, whereas this person was like out here, things like that. Like, you can really see that separation.
Mm-hmm.
Type of deal. And like I said, with shortboarding, unless you really know, if it's the same canvas, you're going to see the same thing.
For sure.
That's what I think is going to be really cool about the longboarding being at Abu Dhabi like this weekend first, before the shortboarding.
At Kelly's pool?
At the Kelly's pools, they're going to be the stop number 3 for the longboard tour.
Oh shit.
And so it's the exact same canvas, and so it's going to really like show you like, so this is like how this person approaches the exact same canvas, and there's 24 men, 24 women. You're probably going to see 21 completely different approaches per side.
Yeah.
There might be, 2 or 3 people that kind of overlap their approach, but you're going to really see that many different approaches. Whereas when you see the shortboard guys take to the wave pool, it's like, okay, these guys do, the front side guys, they do their 3 turns before the barrel, they come out, they get those 2 snaps, and then some guys are going to skip the barrel for the big launch, some guys aren't. They're going to go for the barrel and go for the launch. And it's that same thing, but with the longer, you're going to see like, is this guy going to do turns the whole way? this guy going to nose ride?
Yeah.
Is this guy going to get back?
Where are you going to wipe off? Where are they going to wipe off the speed, and then where
Exactly.
where are they going to approach the barrel, or
Yeah.
how to go into the barrel?
But you're going to really get to see and luck is deleted.
I think that would be a fucking really good wave to
That's
because you watch like a Malibu or some Point Break, or
Yeah.
maybe even like, I don't even know, there's some.
Well, you get to see so many, you get the Solidita down in
Yeah.
Mexico, Pobones, I'm sure, when it's right for
You
long.
did those duct tape invitationals too?
I haven't done one. I got to announce it on Solidita, and that was the only one I've been to in person, but those are awesome because it's all about, Joel really made it about the community coming together. Like, you're surfing with your friends,
Yeah.
trying to outdo each other. You're not competing,
Yeah.
head to head. Like, you are always competing head to head, but it's the
Celebration
not
of.
out. You can ride the same wave together, and you get rewarded for it, as compared to being not only
Interference.
you're not only not getting interference. Like if you've already ridden your wave and it's the best double wave of compass, they're going to give you $500, things like that.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. Where, like I said, when every day we go surfing,
Like, don't let waves go to waste and go have fun, but go rip and push each other.
yeah,
You know?
exactly. And that's what we do every day. Every day you go surfing. In reality, you're competing.
Yeah.
If you have any sort of, I want to get better myself nature, when you're free surfing, every friend you're surfing with, you seem to do something you want to do better. You want to root for them, you want to do sick stuff,
Yeah.
but you also want to do even better.
Yeah.
The heat is, the pressure's on, everybody's watching you do the same thing against your buddy. And
That's what some brands should need to do. Is just like, hey, we're gonna invite like the duct tape, like similar. Like, we got a bunch of cash, and we're just gonna write out like best nose ride, best hang ten.
yeah, that's
you
what
know,
I've been
best-
talking about.
and
I've been
then-
trying to do something like that for so long, because I think longboarding is a tough thing to put into numbers.
Best
Shortboarding
barrel,
is too.
just wipe out.
But yeah, so I was thinking
best
to do
outfit. You know.
I pictured a 2-hour, like Stab did back in the day, where it's the Stab high, and everybody they had judges, but my format was you have 8 guys go surf for 4 hours, they get a window.
Yeah.
You film it, everybody gets together after, watches all the waves of the day. You get to surf for 15 minutes because you didn't like what was out there, and still won. And you vote MVP, wave of the day, best turn, best nose ride, and everything gets like a different prize.
Yeah.
And that's that. Because to me, like surfing, period, is hard to put numbers on, but especially longboarding.
Yeah, when you
how
put
would
a
you
time
put a number
limit,
on that? Like-
yeah, and you put in the rules and the time
Well, and there's
limit.
so much style involved. Like somebody might, tick the boxes and get 5 nose rides, do 5 turns. So it's like, hey, I'll give them an 8. Like,
Yeah.
they did everything we told them to do, and this guy did 2 less turns and 2 less nose rides. But like, I want to watch him do that all day. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that guy to get another wave. I
Really?
want to watch it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's
Really highlights style.
Yeah, exactly. And so there needs to be a way, like, but you're gonna end up with the same number. If not, the guy who had the style is gonna end up with a lower number, even though you'd rather watch him surf again.
Yeah.
But he didn't tick those boxes to get that number up. But if you sit back and watch a whole heat back, you go, okay, that guy made it. But then you look at the numbers, you're like, wait, how? I watched that thing and his waves are sticker. Why is this guy's score high?
Yeah.
If you just get rid of the numbers, I think you say, dude, this
And
guy,
I think-
everybody that was out there, stop serving to watch him. He's the MVP.
And I think your
You know what I mean?
your peers are your most honest like judges. You know, they're nobody's gonna sugarcoat. They're gonna call you out when you look like a
Well, my
when
theory
you
was, you
fall and
write
you
it
do
down.
well.
You can't vote for yourself.
Yeah.
You put it in a hat, and somebody the filmer, they count the votes and say who did it at the end.
I mean, you're your own hardest critic, but your besties are even worse.
Yeah. Well, or they're really like this shit. You think, I don't know about that. I'm like, no, dude. Like, where you thought that was lame, like, is what made it rap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes the close call that you're like, oh, I almost blew it there. The person watching was like, bro, that one spot when you were like on rail, almost going down, and it was like kind of about to get around you, like it was the most crazy positioning. You're like, yeah, I was almost falling, but you didn't.
Yeah.
The fact you came out of it was nuts. Like,
And that's the factor too, is the wave, what you're doing with what the waves, the two.
What it offers, yeah.
Yeah, what it offers. And it's like, hey, that was cool, but you kind of you miss some opportunity on
Yeah.
the way versus like, hey, that wasn't that great of a wave, but you maximized like everything
Or-
perfect on it.
yeah, or you have heats where you ripped waves like all day, and then the wave of the heat comes, and somebody gets a giant score on it because they didn't blow.
Yeah.
Like they rode, they surfed it well, but like in reality they just
The wave got them the score.
They
Yeah.
didn't blow. They
Yeah.
surfed the wave to like
Which
where
didn't
they
happen
made
a
it-
lot. Yeah.
They made it to the end. Where it's like,
what do you call it? Nursed it? You know, like,
yeah, exactly. You're like,
surf
you're
safely.
like, and I've been in heats where I'm like watching and I'm like, oh, that's just the wave of the day. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what I did on my other ones, like
Yeah.
that one nose right on that is gonna
You got
get
extra
scored.
points because the waves were good. That wave was
Yeah.
good.
Or like I said, like when you're mind surfing, it's like, oh, whoa, there he goes, and it's like, oh, he made it to the end.
Yeah.
And he ticked the boxes along the way and get the score, but it's like, but he didn't take it to that next level, you know, like those kind of things. Whereas if you delete the numbers, you're also going to go for it more.
Yeah.
If you're not going for a score, you're just trying to send it so that everybody says,
Yeah,
you ripped, right?
you're elevating the
Yeah.
game, for sure.
And the other thing is too, I think it's cooler to impress 1,000 people on the beach than 5 guys sitting there with pen and paper breaking down everything.
For
You know,
sure.
When you're putting numbers to it, you got to break down every little thing.
Well, we all love
That
competition.
guy ripped. That guy ripped.
Yeah. I just think, we always talk about all the different nuances in the sport and all these little subcultures, and there's WSL does a great thing just for those athletes and staff. You brought up, and then there's all these different
Avenues like OV Pro ones back in the day when they did the boat trip. That was the contest with like
Yeah.
hockey.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
like it's
those cool
intimate.
specialty
Yeah.
things are like
And that's where
so
I
cool.
I miss a little bit more of the specialty, because there's so many great surfers out there that don't have that competitive prowess to get through.
Where they could be the best guy on any given day.
Well,
Yeah,
with all
it's
the
like,
platforms too, you'd think there would be more of that now. Like,
Yeah.
With like
Stab does a good job.
Stab High, they do a really good job. That's really cool. But just there could be more. There could be like tons of cool longboard versions that I think a lot of people would watch and like like you said, like when you watch it, like as a dude who grew up like, fuck, I was just watching Department Blues Changes every day.
Yeah.
Grew up, that is my favorite movie. Like guys like that grew up doing that could see stuff and be like, especially like a good example is Strider at the end of the event at the U.S. Open when he was giving the trophies. He was like, dude, this was like, because the way they did the U.S. Open this year, because the Olympics, it was like all longboard in the first 4 days.
Yeah.
And then like all shortboard the rest of it. And so like there was only the longboard community like in the competitive zone and all that going on. He was like, bro, like the community, like you guys have like, wow, this like intense event.
Yeah.
Everybody had so much fun and like just being a part of it. And that's like, and it was pretty cool to see him take that away from it, because that's what I noticed a lot too. Like as an insider, like when I get my hour break or 20-minute break, my heat off, I run down and like, I mean, as everybody grew up with, so I watch a heat with them and talk story, and the older guys have their kids running around, the younger kids in the contest are babysitting, the guys that are against kids. Like, I had a moment a couple years ago when I announced that Malia, who I grew up with, her daughter Khalees, who was like #1 in the world at the time, was out in the heat with Malia's best friend growing up, Lindsay, who was like my sister's coach, and we all grew up within like 20 minutes of each other at Dana Point. And here I am like up in the booth announcing, while Malia's standing watching her daughter compete against her best friend.
So
while the head judge, Tori, also grew up across the street from me in the same neighborhood as Lindsay.
That's a
And here we
trip.
are, like the biggest surf contest in the world.
On all of
A complete turf takeover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom watching, kid in the water, grown woman in the water competing against a shit talker in the booth talking about it, and the head judge is all from the same zone.
Yeah.
Like, pretty insane.
And
That
that's
starts from the bottom now here.
Yeah, it's a wild thing.
But that's
like,
why
all
surfing
goes-
is like more than a sport. We get labeled it because it is a sport in a way, but it's a lifestyle, and it's a way of it's a life and community and all that. And
Yeah, it's an unreal thing we're lucky enough to be a part of it.
Yeah.
we're just waiting for Slater to put his Masters tour together with all the old guys. Because I mean, you watch all the
Well, it's
50
insane.
plus
Like,
guys are ripping.
well, what's funny is I was talking about somebody earlier when I was like in the 15 and 19 division, and the 50-year-old division in the coalition contest was like, dudes basically need help getting their board to the water.
Yeah.
Nowadays, Slater's turning 50, winning the Pipe Masters.
Yeah.
Like 50-year-old people are not the same 50-year-old people
No.
who were when I was a 15-year-old kid, which is, I'm stoked on. Like I'm 2 years younger than LeBron James, and like when everybody's saying how old he is and he's still jumping over everybody, I'm like,
Yeah.
because I still feel like I'm a 16-year-old kid, body-wise, fucking maturity-wise, probably a little bit. Like I may have more knowledge and be able to put the words together better, but overall, like I still feel like a kid. I don't feel like I'm this like old guy who should be at the end. Like I love competing still. I can't wait to go to Florida and surf in Justin's contest, and it's like
So Justin's throwing this contest.
Justin Quintal,
Yeah.
So he's WSL world champ.
Yeah. What's
one
the
more
contest
duct tape.
called again?
The Loggerhead.
Okay.
The
Loggerhead.
Loggerhead Classic. So I think this is the 5th or 6th running of it. He did it like 3 or 4 times, and then COVID hit, so he took a couple of years off. And then he did it in 2022. I went out there, and then skipped last year, and then bringing it back this year.
Sick.
It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be like a whole, he's having a silent disco on the pier, big party for the awards. Like it's gonna be like a Mexi Log Fest type vibe where it's the East Coast community coming together. I get to be the lucky California dude to
Sick.
go hang out. And I'll be announcing, competing, like
Cool.
cruising. It's such a fun group, and a lot of the guys that are my age now that like, don't really compete anymore, but from that area, like they're all doing it, and like so it's always cool. Like we said, the community coming together, any excuse
Yeah.
to come together. And like right now, I've been following all the longboard friends that are already in Abu Dhabi, and like they're straight into the culture of the Middle East as a whole squad. Like,
It's cool.
it's so cool
Does
to
it better
see the
travel
world with
with
a bunch of
your
your best
bros?
friends.
Yeah.
And some of them are your best friends that feel like brothers and sisters that you only get to see, like I said, when you travel to these places all at the same time and things like that.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about this whole time, there's nothing else that does that
Yeah.
more than surfing.
Well,
Yeah.
we're fucking surfers, guys.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
Lars got to pick up some kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm bummed to get back down to the
Yeah.
zone.
But tell everyone where they can find you.
So if you're on the Instagram, I'm Buck Zaster, one word. Check out servicehealing.org. You can donate there. We'll have our annual, at the Ritz-Carlton Marina Galway, we have our annual surfboard auction. So we have a bunch of boards from like huge artists like Fielding Schnabel. I can't even list some of the artists we've had. Kelly Slater always gives us a board. Usually we get a board from Clay Marzo. All kinds of shapers make us cool boards, and like I said, cool artists. We had, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but a rad dude who does builds cars. So he did a board that had an engine coming out of it.
Nice.
And so it's all a silent auction that's on display at the Ritz-Carlton down above Creek, like all year. And then to open it, we have our Surfing Santa contest. That all
So it's coming up.
it's coming up. So it's always the weekend before Thanksgiving. So I don't know the exact date, but November 17th, 18th.
Give or take around.
Give or take around there, whatever that weekend is, and they have their big Ritz-Carlton annual tree lighting. That kind of is the first showing of the boards in the lobby and things like that. And we go online and bid for that, and all that goes to getting us all over the world and things like that. And hopefully, the following weekend of that, we'll have our Waikiki event. So if you're in Hawaii, you can go check it out. We're always looking for more volunteers, as he likes to call us healers.
Yeah.
And like I said, like guys that come on tour for the first time ever doing an event, and it's like immediately fall in love. And I feel like nowadays everybody, whether it's their family or somebody they know, knows somebody with autism or somebody affected with autism. So it's always cool to just get to see that community. And like I said, I think being a part of it just makes you a better person.
Yeah.
And then I'm at the Hobie store in Dana Point pretty much 5 days a week when I'm home. You can come down and check out my boards with me. I always feel awkward though. Like, sometimes I don't say it.
I don't know these other ones, but you should really check out this one.
Oh, by the way, I'm an
it's
honest guy, so I only do it if it's the right one for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I won't say anything until I'm like putting the fin in, and they'll be like, "Oh, thanks, man. Pump for this board. What's your name?" I'm like, "Bucky," and they're like, "Oh, like this Bucky?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah. What? Oh, can we get a picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
That
They're like,
is
so
cool.
did you just sell this to me because it's your... No. Like, that's why I didn't tell you in the beginning. Like,
Yeah. Right.
I'm gonna get you what you want. I'm not a salesman. I just help you find what you need.
You want to get them on the best board or make them ready.
Yeah.
You know.
Like the biggest thing after COVID.
Just
is
happens to be the Bucky 1, Bucky 2.
Oh, here's my hats too.
Yeah, we got the
Here's
hat.
the Buck hat. Here's
But yeah,
the
the
Buck
hardest thing
tee.
is after COVID. Oh, I just got off that wavestone. I need a 6.0. Bro, do you want to have fun or do you want to watch everybody else have fun?
Yeah.
You need a 10.0
Catch
log,
waves.
dude.
Catch
This
waves.
glider, you're gonna have a blast at Santa.
Yeah.
This 6.2, you're gonna watch everybody get pissed at you for being in the way.
Right. Yeah. Go to your spot
Yeah.
down the beach.
So you gotta be honest with the customer. Let them know what they need.
Well, we got to plug our sponsors
Yeah.
before we say goodbye.
Thanks to Loose Towels. We're gifting you our Outdoor
thank you.
Eco Towel for your trip to
Perfect.
Lagerfest.
One last thing to throw in the laundry before I go.
Non-polyester blend. It's all organic.
We'll pad the tail perfect
There
in
you
the board
go.
bag.
Thanks to Earth Pack. There's a Hobie bag there. They make everything for your packaging needs. Also Caballero Pools and Spas. Thanks to Finless Skateboards, who actually makes the Hobie ones.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
those are badass.
Those are
sick.
really nice looking.
Little limited run, so we gotta get them.
Yeah.
Murph Electric Bikes.
Shoots, Pokey and Beer. The beautiful place we're in now, Northside Cafe.
I can't get my eyes off the cinnamon rolls, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
gotta get those heated up, I bet. But
Ma-
they look mean.
Malachi for any job opportunities, people searching for a gig, looking for positions throughout the industry.
Clearweather brand for shoes and sandals. Did I already say Earthpack? Yeah. But and also to Bonsai Bowls.
Oh yeah.
Just gave you a couple cards for
Yeah,
your
I can't
free bowl.
wait. I love that place.
And dude, it's
you.
been amazing.
Oh yeah, thank you, Rivia. Thank
Yeah,
you,
man.
Lincoln.
Stoked to
Thank you,
have you
Wilson
on
family.
board.
Yeah, stoked.
Good luck and have fun in Florida.
Oh, I can't wait.
And
Gotta leave
dude,
California, go find waves in Florida.
yeah.
I checked the camera today, it looks funner than shit.
There's always a little wind swell or something.
Yeah, there's always something in North Florida.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
Cool.
for
Yeah.
being part of Surf
Thank you,
Scene.
man.
No,
That was
thank you guys for
Yeah.
giving us the platform to promote it and everything.
Yeah.
We gotta get Izzy on here
Thanks
too, so
for-
he can tell you
Dude,
the stories.
thanks.
Thanks for our
Talk to 'em, yeah.
listeners.
I'll bug him.
Peace. If you can send me